Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another live stream on OCP Communications. I'm actually joined by two special guests this time around, Ramboraph4life and Stuntman Marq.
Hey.
Hello.
So this is Stuntman Marq's first time on my channel as a guest, and I'm really glad to have him here, as well as my longtime friend and collaborator, Ramboraph4life. And we're going to be talking about this list of disappointing sequels from Rolling Stone. I thought it'd be a fun topic because we've all seen a lot of sequels. Probably seen a good chunk of the movies on this list. So thought it would be a good one to talk about. It was nowhere near the same level of Caddyshack 2 or Jaws of Revenge.
He's talking about Blues Brothers 2000.
Blues Brothers 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it's kind of on the same level, but that's just me. Hey there, Alex. Thoughts on The Vindicator? It's interesting. Like, it's a proto RoboCop. Like, it's a Canadian film. It came out before RoboCop and stuff like Darkman, but it's very low budget, and it definitely is something that affects the film, and it's got a weird tone to it. I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. Like, it's one of those movies where it's kind of cool, but also kind of lame.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be cool to see it get a Vinegar Syndrome release or a release period because it is only on VHS. Hey there, Monteval.
What's going on?
Or Eminem.
Most
3
disappointed.
M's.
Yeah, Annihilation is very disappointing. Have I recovered from watching Beyond the Lard with Steven Seagal? I didn't think about that title. I called it Beyond the Waistline. But yeah, I've recovered from that. I actually recorded that rant recently, so that'll be up soon, later tonight. Before we go over the list on Rolling Stone, shall we take a moment to pay our tribute to James Earl Jones? Yes, a moment of silence for James Earl Jones. Rest in peace.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Legend.
Yeah.
Not only the voice of Darth Vader, but, you know, one of the best villains in fantasy film history, Thulsa Doom and Conan the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Did some other good work in films like The Ambulance. I enjoyed him in that as the cop.
Yeah, Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams as well.
Sandlot.
The Sandlot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mufasa.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, I don't give a shit about Mufasa, the prequel, the new movie coming out.
Same.
I think it's gonna bomb. I think Sonic 3 is gonna shred it. I think it's stands a chance against Sonic 3. I could be wrong though.
Hopefully so.
Oh yeah, Best of the Best. He was in that too.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That needs a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're gonna get into the list. How do you guys feel about Best of the Best sequels? Do you have a favorite?
They're kind of fun, to be honest. Like, I mean, I don't
think so.
I think some of them are weaker than others. Like, I think the best one is 2, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I can have some fun with 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Definitely. Yeah.
I like 2 and 3. I'm not a fan of 4. But I like 2 and 3.
Oh yeah, he was in Great White Hope, Deadly and Excessive. Oh, he was in Excessive Force. Excessive 4. We were talking about Best of Best 4, so I guess that just came out of me like that.
Yeah, Thomas Ian Griffith film, Excessive Force. Yep.
That one's kind of underrated, actually. I like that one.
Yep. No Blu-ray.
A lot better than Excessive Force 2. Force on Force. One of the dumbest subtitles ever.
Yeah.
Got a lot of force.
Is it worse than Die Harder, though? I mean,
I
always thought that one was a little weird.
That is pretty bad. But Die Hard 2 is awesome. It's great.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Awesome movie. Needs more Robert Patrick in there.
Yeah, Phil Bree, he was good. I like Phil Bree in his movies. He didn't do a lot, to be fair. Yeah, he really didn't outside of those movies. Sadly, it's kind of like the guy from King of the Kickboxers. You know, he didn't do a ton outside of that franchise either. I don't think.
Lauren Avedon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the first title on the list, number 50, is T3, Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines. I actually think that's a good pick because I remember being hyped and actually really excited for that film. Like my stepdad even bought me the movie magazine, the tie-in magazine to the film. I saw it in the theater with my stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this is at a time when I watched the first and the second film a lot in VHS. Like I grew up with the first two films.
Definitely same here.
And so, and this was also when Arnold was making a bit of a comeback. This was after he was done, you know, doing the politics, I think, right? Wasn't it?
No, it's before he got
Before
into
he
it.
did the
Yeah,
politics.
just before, yeah.
Just before. But he was in a bit of a lull before he did T3.
Mhm.
And so this was kind of like,
he was getting ready to pretty much retire from acting.
Yes.
Go full into politics because his films were bombing. Collateral
exactly.
Damage, End of Days,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sixth Day. They were all bombing.
I mean, yeah, it's not great, and it is better than Genesis and Dark Fate, but I do consider it to be a disappointment because of the fact that it wasn't like really good. It was like it was just kind of maybe okay at best. But even
Mhm.
then, like it hasn't held up well. It really has not held up well over the years. There's some good action in it. I will give it that. Like the chase with the fire truck and everything, real stunts and you know some real stuff happening on screen. But there's a lot of stuff in that is just dumb. Talk to the hand, like really? Like
Yeah, I mean the getting his stuff, his wardrobe from like a male stripper, and I mean just you could go on and on. I don't think we have enough time in the show to
No.
list all the problems
No.
with T3.
No. Christina Loken and her like making her boobs bigger.
Mhm.
What do you think about Nick Stahl? Because I know originally they were gonna have a Furlong in there,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but then he wound up winded up getting replaced.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I like Nick Stahl. There's quite a few movies that he's in. I think he does a pretty good job, but it, I have such an emotional tie to like Furlong's character for T2 because I just grew up with that, and I really would have liked it to have been him. I mean, I know at the time like he wasn't in the best place like in his personal life, but I think he might have actually risen to the occasion. I mean, because some of the movies that he did right before that were still kind of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, American History X was I think 98, right?
Yeah, he did
And then
Pecker as well.
Animal Factory, which is very underrated. I like that. He's solid in that. And I think that was like 2000 or 2001, somewhere around there. So like
Yeah.
he, you know, he still had some good stuff, but that was probably like where it stopped, like right there.
Exactly.
But I think for that, he probably would have risen to the occasion. And I don't know.
He ditched T3, but he did Wicked Prayer.
Well, he said yes, and then he celebrated and pretty much overdosed.
Oh
That's right.
yeah.
So he got
Yeah.
fired because they couldn't trust him.
Yeah.
TMZ like put it all over everything, and
Yeah.
like, the studio found out because he was bound by contract. Like he wasn't supposed
He
to
was
be
in
doing stuff.
the Universal Studios
T2 3D.
he was T2 3D. He
Yeah.
was in that.
Mhm.
I actually did get a chance to actually go to that attraction, you know, before they shut it down. It was really cool. They had a great mix of live action actors and like stuff actually happening in the theater,
Mhm.
plus the 3D movie.
Nice.
But yeah, it did have some good moments, but it's disappointing because you know you're talking about Terminator here. You know, you're not talking about some other franchise that was like, you know, maybe could have room for improvement.
Mhm.
You know, after the first two installments. And yeah, T3 making T2 pointless. You know, Judgment Day is inevitable.
Mhm.
You know, that definitely leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
Definitely, most definitely.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And the interesting thing about T3 was a female Terminator. Yeah, I guess you could kind of say that added a little bit to it. And they didn't just go like a typical, like, oh, let's just change the sex lazily route.
Mhm.
You know, it didn't seem like that was really the intent. And But yeah, pretty disappointing. Hey there, Julie. I love Schwarzenegger's commentary on that movie, though. It's completely unhinged. I don't know what is going on with Schwarzenegger when it comes to his commentary in that. But it's comic gold. Just like I don't know what the hell is going on with the next title on this list, Staying Alive from 1983. I saw that movie. I still can't believe Stallone made that movie, and John Travolta signed off on a Saturday Night Fever sequel that wound up being Staying Alive. Because if you look at the tone of both films, they cannot possibly be any different.
Yeah. I think that's very, very accurate. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't seen it since I only seen it once. And I had always heard how bad it was up until the point that I saw it. And it pretty much lived up to what everybody said. It was very bad. Yeah, I don't have any desire to ever see it again. It is very, it is a stark contrast to say the least.
Yes.
It's bad.
100%.
Deserves to be on the list.
And it's directed by Stallone. That's a crazy thing too. You're like, that is one of the most bizarre parts of his filmography, if you ask me, is his involvement as the director of that movie. I would just like to know, like, how and why. Like, was it for the paycheck? Was it for the money? Like, is it because you wanted to direct John Travolta? Did you want him to get into shape and be the guy who gives him all the, proper routines so he gets into, the best shape? Like, I don't really understand what was going on at that point in Stallone's career. Like, it wasn't just that, it was also Rhinestone pretty soon after, or around the same time.
I'm sure he's like given at least one or two interviews where like they go into the detail. You're the big sly guy, Rambo. Like, have you ever seen anything where like he's mentioned the direct reason for him doing that movie or why it turned out the way that it did?
No, but I mean, I'm guessing he's friends with Travolta.
Okay.
Because they were going to be in Rambo 2 together after that.
Yeah.
And he probably thought, well, he'd have to direct Rocky 3. That was a hit. So now he gets to direct. Maybe they say this is going to be a hit because the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. You want some hits under your belt because other than Rocky and First Blood, every film he did was a flop.
Yeah.
So maybe, and it did make money.
It did.
So maybe that's what he wanted all along. I mean, I don't know.
The soundtrack sold a lot of copies as well. And actually, I like the soundtrack. Far From Over by Frank Stallone. There's a Bee Gees song in there I like. What's funny is they actually are playing like a playlist at work, and Far From Over is a part of the playlist. And I'm probably the only person who works there that even knows that that's from Staying Alive. But it's a bad film, but there are some aspects of it that are like so bad it's good, because you can't believe that you're watching a movie about Tony Manero becoming a Broadway dancer and joining a play that's about hell. It's just with costume design by Bob Fosse, who worked with Cher. But yeah, it's bad, and I could see it being on a list of disappointing because it's a follow up to Saturday Night Fever, which I can't believe I keep saying follow up to Staying Alive. So my brain cells are having a hard time staying alive tonight. But I actually got a super chat here from Freddie. Thank you, Freddie. Too bad I can't join in for long because of work, but my most disappointing sequel is definitely Alien 3. Really ruined my chance to see a really great series. That's definitely on my list. I would put it on here.
It's not on this list.
It isn't, which I'm
honestly
kind of surprised by.
I'm not. They love it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I never understood the love affair with Alien 3.
Why don't you go outside?
Exactly. Fuck Alien 3, to quote Michael Biehn, Hicks himself. The next
Oh.
title on the list.
I
You wanna go?
yeah, I did react to that video.
You did?
Yeah, it's coming soon. The request
I'm looking
he
forward to
sent.
that.
The guy's like the brilliance of Alien 3.
I know the unsung brilliance of Alien 3, Matt.
There's more pretentious bullshit where
Uh-huh.
apparently Alien 3 has the only three-dimensional characters,
Yeah.
and that it was good that Hitsune died because they were not good characters. They were
Uh-huh.
just there to serve
Uh-huh.
Ripley as a mother figure.
Uh-huh.
I love how I also said Alien 3 is somehow pro-life.
Yeah,
I don't know
and
how
it's
the fuck
also
that
it's
is.
also feminist. It's feminist.
It's pro-life, but when she gives birth, she's going to die.
Right.
And the aliens don't kill people, but it's pro-life. Okay. Dude, fucking shit. Jesus Christ.
Fuck Alien 3, get scrapped. Yeah, get thrown into the scrap metal machine. Right into the smelter. Right into that molten metal. Or lead or whatever the hell it is. Speaking of Terminator, they totally ripped off the ending of T2 for that movie.
Yeah.
So speaking of disappointing sequels, the next one is Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Yes, absolutely, 100%. The first film is great. Honestly, one of the best films of its genre. One of my favorite films. I remember being really hyped and really excited about The Lost World, and I think I even saw it in the theater, but like it just didn't have the same impact as Jurassic
Mhm.
Park.
Agreed.
And like it just felt like it also wasted, or it didn't necessarily waste the character played by Jeff Goldblum, but like it definitely didn't have the right idea of who his character is. Like it took
Mhm.
away, like the script took away all of his charm for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like with the first movie, the one thing that I love about it the most is it's got this very unique, like almost heist element where they're smuggling out the dinosaur DNA. That sort of gets
Mhm.
lost in like
Yeah.
the shuffle of ideas of what people really think the movie's about, because it is easy to get lost in all the adventure and all the cool stuff
Yeah.
going on. But that was
And the
always my
chaos.
favorite thing. Yeah, yeah. That was always my favorite thing. But then like you go to Lost World and it's like, well, let's see what Spielberg will do. Like, how closely is like the book going to translate? Like, what's going to happen here? And for me, it just feels like just another island thing. Like,
Mhm.
there's not enough there for me, story wise, plot wise, and character
Oh,
wise. It is
character-wise in
very,
particular.
yeah, it's very much lacking.
It's also too long, like way too long. Like it's
Mhm,
got really a bad pacing issues at times. Like the whole scene with the baby T-Rex feels like it goes on for forever. Like
mhm.
that really felt like a scene that should have been trimmed considerably to enhance the tension. And there's other stuff like, oh, there's two T-Rexes, and you're like, okay, all right. That felt gimmicky. Like
Very.
immediately that was like, come on.
That's what that movie feels like. It feels like one big gimmick. I mean, the whole like tacked on, what I feel is tacked on ending of
Yeah.
the T-Rex in the city, and it's
Uh-huh.
like,
And
I
the
could,
Raptors at the end getting kicked in the
yeah,
face by a gymnast girl.
yeah,
Like you know you're in for a disappointing film when the first shot of the film is Jeff Goldblum yawning. You're like, oh, that's definitely not what I'm looking for out of a Jurassic Park sequel. The first scene is the star going, ah.
yeah.
Well, the audience did that a lot too.
Speaking of
Watching this.
gimmicks, like I remember the advertising more than the actual film. I can remember the Burger King
Yeah.
watches in particular. Like I had the Velociraptor one, and I remember the VHS. You remember the VHS for Lost World with the lenticular cover
Oh yeah.
that had like the shows the Jurassic Park door, and then the T-Rex busts through.
hmm I mean, that's like the all the marketing for like the Godzilla stuff the next year.
Oh yeah,
Like just
Mhm.
on every
Taco
like,
Bell.
yeah, on every cup or like bag. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like Fallen Kingdom more, and I also like Jurassic Park 3 more than the Lost World. Matt, what are your thoughts on the Lost World?
Deserves to be lost. Stay lost. uh, saw in the theater. I liked it in the theater, but doesn't hold up. Doesn't hold up because Jeff Goldblum is cool. He's the lead, but at the same time, he has really nothing to do.
Yes.
And it felt like nothing really happened for a good chunk of time until that stampede scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you have the third act. I can watch the third act and enjoy it in a B-movie way, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know, it didn't really need to be made. I mean, it didn't really further the story, it didn't bring anything that great to the table.
Yeah, it wasn't a good script. And also, I think it could have used a different director. I said this in my review of the movie. Spielberg's heart wasn't in this. He's even admitted that he wasn't into the film. And he just basically just kind of did it just to finish, what he started. Because he agreed to do it. And that he didn't want to leave the project. Because he was so far along. But I think in a lot of ways, I think after a certain point, he realized that it was not a good story. It wasn't that good of a script. And so he's just kind of stuck with it. And you can kind of tell that he was just like, I just got to do what I can do with it. And that's about it. Now, the next disappointing sequel is Bad Santa 2. Now, I actually haven't seen Bad Santa 2, but I've heard a lot of bad things about it. I really like the first film.
Mm-hmm.
So
first one was great. The sequel was dog shit.
I mean, with a premise like that, like how much more could you get out of it the second time round? That's what I always think about when I think about Bad Santa 2 is like they're sort of like going back to the same thing that's already been done. And if it's already been done, like why do it again? Unless you're going to do it better. And there wasn't really anything extra in it that made it better. And it's also kind of hard to follow up like a Coen Brothers, Terry Zwigoff like script. So they were never really gonna, I mean, unless you had the Coen Brothers involved again, it was really hard to like pull that off. Especially like, what was it? It was over a decade later, right?
Yeah.
So
it was pretty late.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't think it's as bad as like I know Matt seems to hate it, but like
they even brought Tony Cox back.
They did, yeah.
And it's like
they had to go back to the well, man. They didn't have anything. That's what I mean. Like it's just I don't hate it because like I kind of liked seeing those characters again still, but a part of me is like, well, this is kind of like a retread in a way.
Even
There's
the
a couple
kid,
new characters
when he's an adult now and he's like an absolute creeper.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work as well when he's older.
Yeah, when he's like, our age.
It's
and
okay, Michael.
Like that.
See ya. Have a good night.
He's our age and he's trying to talk like he did as a little kid in the first film. It doesn't work at all.
Mm-hmm.
He just comes off as like he's ready to, I don't know, collect toenails or something.
You should definitely check out the entirety of Bad Santa sometime, Julie. It's really funny. It's one of my favorite Christmas films now. I decided to watch it one holiday season because I hadn't seen it yet, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious, and I love Billy Bob Thornton in it.
But in the sequel of that kid, man, it's like he's going to be in an X-Files episode hunting Agent Scully. He's that fucking serial killer level creepy.
Yeah.
There was no heart to it.
Yeah.
First one had a bit of heart. Sequel, not so much.
Yeah.
Dog shit.
Now, number 46 on this list is Teen Wolf 2, and I don't understand why it's on here. This is not disappointing. Like no one ever thought that Teen Wolf 2 was going to be good, let alone great. There's no chance for it to be disappointing. The first film was only a hit because of Michael J. Fox.
Right, yeah.
That's the only reason why it was a hit. If it starred anyone else, it would have been a bomb.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And like it was a one-off. Like it worked once, despite how dumb and ridiculous the idea is. And for some people, it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that because like some of like their reactions to the fact that this guy's a werewolf, they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, not really. I'd be fucking terrified.
I know. Yeah. This guy turned into a Sasquatch, and then it was like, ah.
Yeah, it's like
You'd be more scared, not like
right. But despite me saying that, I still like the first one.
yeah.
Second one,
Great soundtrack too. Win in the End.
oh yeah, definitely.
And
I love that.
one of the big parts of that film. One of the best parts of the movie is the soundtrack.
Yes, for sure. But that second one, I mean, he's like a boxer or something.
Jason Bateman.
Yes.
It was a nepotism hire because the producer of the film was his dad or something, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And I think he had a bit part in Family Ties, so they thought maybe okay, we'll bring this guy who was in Family Ties, let's bring him into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with Teen Wolf 2, but even I will admit that it's bad. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Teen Wolf 2 is some kind of gem or underrated classic. I've seen worse films.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The first time I was introduced to the song "Send Me an Angel" was actually from Teen Wolf 2. And it's one of those, it's a dumb movie, and I just don't understand the boxing thing either. Like, it's not an exciting sport to watch a werewolf do. Like,
I don't know why they
boxing?
had to. They didn't really need to copy the sport element. Like that didn't really make the first movie that much better. I mean, it was just kind of something that he did because like he was in high school, so that was what they were doing. They were playing basketball. But like,
yeah,
I mean, him in college, I would have liked to have seen him more like just exploring his newfound ability, if you want to call it that, and trying to balance out college life with it. Like that would have been a bit more fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's Teen Wolf 2. It is what it is. You know, it's not that bad.
Got a Shout Factory, Scream Factory collector's edition with the slipcover and everything.
Yeah, you know what you're going in for when you go see Teen Wolf 2.
What are your thoughts, Matt, on Teen Wolf 2?
I've never seen it. Never seen it.
You're in for a treat.
Not really. Although, to be honest, I would rather watch Teen Wolf 2 than the next one on the list. Number 45, Men in Black International. Do you think that that's a disappointing sequel or not?
It's a shitty sequel. All those years later, you have no Will Smith, you have no Tommy Lee Jones, you have Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson because they did Thor Ragnarok together. There's no life to it. There's no wit to it. They're in London. The girl like knows everything. Like in 5 minutes, she knows where Men in Black headquarters is, just because of her menopause power or whatever.
The M in Men in Black stands for Mary Sue when it comes to this particular installment.
There's no really good bits of imagination. That is, I've seen it. Yeah, forgettable is the best word. I can't remember details about that film for a reason.
That's a film that when the 4K came out, like it just wound up becoming just lost in bargain bins everywhere. Like I see that 4K, like out of all the 4Ks, like I see that one quite a bit at at thrift shops and used resale stores for cheap.
That was part of Chris Hemsworth's midlife crisis. Because, whether it be Vacation or that film or Ghostbusters 2016 or
he should have fired his agent like way before that point.
That's what I was thinking. Like his agent just really wants him in another franchise.
And now he's doing Transformers. He really desperately needs it, I guess.
Total Meltdown. Like I would say Men in Black 2 is more disappointing. Because honestly, the trailers and all the advertising for International, and knowing that it's more of a spin-off than actually a real sequel, I didn't have really a lot of expectations for International. Now, Men in Black 2, on the other hand, pretty good amount of expectations because the first film is a classic. And then the second film was just, I remember being disappointed by that when I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw the second one, well, I didn't see all of it, but I think we were like in between movies. We had like bought tickets to see 2 different movies. One was starting a little bit later, and then we were like, oh, hey, the door's open. Let's go in Men in Black 2 for like 10 minutes until the next movie starts. So I was watching it and I was like, this is bad. Like, and I'm only seeing like whatever scene it was. Again, this was a million years ago, but like it never clicked then. I saw it later, still didn't click for me. I thought I might have been alone and not really liking the second one, but I guess everybody feels that way.
You're definitely not alone. Like, I like the third film more. I think the third film was surprisingly decent. Like, that was more of a sequel that actually surprised me. And the second film was disappointing. It just felt rushed. It really did seem like a very rushed.
I was going to say that, like,
film overall.
Rush job, yeah.
And what's funny is they took a while to release it. So it's like, why is it so rushed? It seems like this was like a script that was written like a year after the first film came out, but that's not when the movie came out. It's not like Child's Play 3 after Child's Play 2. That's not what happened with Men in Black 2. The next one is Airplane 2, the sequel, number 44. I don't think it's that bad, let alone that disappointing, to be honest. Like, for a sequel to Airplane, it's not as good as the first, but you could still have some fun with it. William Shatner's cameo is hilarious. There's still some, fun to be had with that one in terms of the gags and some of the jokes. And I like the idea of it being a space shuttle, instead of, just an airplane again.
I like Airplane 2. I always did. William Shatner steals the show from me.
He's so good in that.
The lights, they're blinking and winking and blinking. He just, every scene, he just loses his mind. He just loses shit.
I've got to agree with Mike for sure. Like, it could have been so much worse, I think. But also, like Matt just mentioned, Shatner's great. So, like, you got that. But it's definitely not the first movie for sure.
No. But
I'm okay with that. Like, I can still, like, if it was on TV, it's on. I'd watch. I wouldn't turn it off or anything.
Yeah. It's entertaining. Robert Hayes is still good in it too.
Oh yeah.
And there's random Christmas stuff that does seem a little out of place, but at least that was the advertisements. There was like a poster at Santa Claus. And I don't remember if there was a lot of Christmas stuff in the actual film, if I remember correctly, or that was just the advertising.
I like the film though.
Yeah. Yeah, I would actually put, some other comedy sequels, on here over Airplane 2. I mean, Hangover 2 is definitely, way more disappointing, for instance. But number 43 is Lethal Weapon 4. Like, I don't really think that it's that disappointing. It's just diminished returns. That's kind of my feeling about Lethal Weapon 4. But how about you?
I am really surprised that made the list. I mean, there's a lot of other sequels that I put on there over that one. I think one of the best things about Lethal Weapon 4 is probably the ending. It sort of wraps everything up. I love the final shot with everybody in the picture, and like you got the babies are born and everything, and it's kind of like it's a nice little bow on the end of everything. I like that.
Yeah.
That being said, I think the action scenes are completely over the top, but I don't mind it. Like, I still can enjoy it. Like, it's a fun movie to me. I mean, I don't know. What about you, Matt?
I used to dislike it, but there's been so many shittier films that come out. It kind of rolls in the ranks. And you know what? If I watch Lethal Weapon 4, it's really not that bad in retrospect. Like you said, it doesn't ruin the characters.
No.
It gives them until they make Lethal Weapon 5, it gives them a good ending. Which I know they don't do.
Please don't. Just don't do it.
No.
Just no.
But it gives her a good ending. Jet Li is solid as the villain.
Yeah, he's a good villain.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't really like Chris Rock in it. I don't think he fits.
Yeah.
He had some good lines. Like when he's talking about like how Jet Li strangled the guy on the roof, and he's like, "Get this, pigeons ate his eyeballs." Like there's a couple lines where I chuckle, and I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of funny." But I think when you have somebody like how they play Pesci in that one, like
Pesci is so
Yeah.
good.
he's so cool, but like them playing off of each other, like I kind of see what Matt's talking about, like So I mean, I think his character is funner, like in small doses, I'll say. But
Yeah.
I don't mind Chris Rock overall, though, as an actor or
No,
comedian.
I like Chris Rock. I could deal
Mhm.
with him. It's just, like I say, there's a couple moments is a little bit like, stop, let me do the stand-up routine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't mind him. If I'm
What do you think
being
about
fair.
Donner's direction? Do you think he did a good job?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I honestly, I don't really love 2 that much. But when I look at all of them as a whole, the first one's obviously the best. I mean,
Yeah.
that script is so damn good. Part of it too, like Mel Gibson being all suicidal, is pretty crazy and cool all at the same time. So there's that. But like I said, I think with 4, it's got a little bit of everything. I think it's definitely got the direction. It feels like a Lethal Weapon movie.
Yes, it does.
So for me, I think it works. It's fine. It's a good send off. That's what I always remember about it when I think it. Like by the time you get to the end, that's a cool send off.
And actually,
characters.
It has one of my favorite action scenes in the franchise with the guy with the flamethrower, which I thought was just so crazy and wild.
Yeah.
And like when I first saw the movie, it was like, that was cool. So that was unique. That was different. I thought it was pretty well executed.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, like, yeah, I don't mind Lethal Weapon 4. I wouldn't consider it to be disappointing. I'll just consider it to be just another instance of a little diminished returns when it comes to the franchise.
I would say I like part 3 more.
Me too.
Yes, yeah, 3 for sure is cool.
3 is underrated.
Well, I mean, that guy's like burying people in cement and stuff. Like
3,
so cool.
3 is also like one of the better action movie satires.
Yeah.
Like of its time.
Mm-hmm.
Number 42 is Iron Man 2. I can see that, but I honestly think Iron Man 3 is more disappointing. Because Iron Man 2 was early enough in the MCU where they were still trying to work out some kinks and trying to figure out things. Like they hadn't quite
they fucked with Jon Favreau. That's what happened.
Yes.
They fucked with him behind the scenes. He wanted to do one film.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to push in Sam Jackson and Scarlett Johansson and the whole.
Mm-hmm.
So they were messing with it. That's why he'd never directed for them again. He was an actor, but he never directed another Marvel film again because he messed with him so much.
Yeah.
And you could tell. I don't love the film. It's better than I like more than Iron Man 3.
So do I.
It's okay, but
it's also overstuffed. It's a sequel that there's too much going on. I have to admit, Iron Man 2. I felt that way when I saw it in the theater when it came out. There's just so much going on in terms of the different subplots and different elements. They could have trimmed some things considerably. And I can understand why people are disappointed, with Whiplash, I think is his name, and how he's used. But I do think Iron Man 3 is more disappointing because you had the Mandarin, who is like one of the prime villains in Iron Man's rogues gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And they just botched it so badly with this stupid twist, like straight from Shyamalama Ding Dong's ass. Like, oh, it's not the real Mandarin. That's a fake Mandarin. And it's actually this boring white guy. Like, great.
Yeah.
And then Iron Man gets saved by Pepper Potts.
Exactly. I mean, in the whole extremist thing, like, as cool as that stuff is in the books, like, they bring it in, they show what it is, you kind of get an idea of what it could be, and then it's never mentioned again anywhere else in the MCU ever. And I thought that was the biggest waste of one of the coolest things in the comics, at least the Iron Man comics anyway. And Iron Man 2 it felt rushed. Well, it was. I mean, it literally came out right after the next year. Yeah, don't like Whiplash as the villain, although I'm okay with him being defeated like he was like in the
Yeah.
first 5 minutes, because that's what you do with a character like that. He's kind of like an opener villain.
Uh-huh.
But that's not how I would have used Justin Hammer. That's not the way I
No.
see him in the books. And Sam's great. I like him as an actor. He's cool. But no, that's not, that's not what I do with Justin Hammer. There's so much more that could have been done. I will say, as disappointing as Iron Man 3 is, I think the action scenes are a bit more fun than the ones in 2, just because it's not 100% drones. Just, I mean, that's essentially what they are. Like, he's killing drones.
Yeah.
In 2. Like, I like the airplane sequence, as crazy as it is.
Mhm.
Some of the other sequences are fun, even when he doesn't have the armor, and he's diving through the window, like, with the handgun or whatever. Like, there's some cool scenes, but yeah, they're both disappointing sequels. First one definitely the best. So
Yeah. I think Iron Man is only like really good film in that franchise. The next one on the list is another MCU film, Thor: Love and Thunder, which I still haven't seen. I've heard a lot of great things about it, but I still haven't seen it yet.
oh boy, yeah.
Would you say
ahead,
it's
Matt.
disappointing?
It's
Yeah.
shit.
In comparison to Ragnarok, especially, yeah. And I don't think I'm not like one of those diehard fans of Ragnarok. I think it's
Right.
better in some ways than Dark World. I'm not really a big Alan Taylor guy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
he
I thought
directed
Dark World was even more like that. That was more disappointing to me.
Yeah.
Like, and I haven't even seen Love and Thunder, and I would still say, even if I had seen it, Thor 2 would be more disappointing because Thor was a really good start to something.
Mhm.
And then Thor 2 was just one of the worst films in the MCU at that time. Like,
Yeah.
Mark,
pretty poor.
is Love and Thunder the one with those screaming animals?
Yeah.
Jesus. Like, that was a joke. Like, these CG animals just come out and scream, and that was supposed to be funny.
That's
That's like a
actually
running
in that
joke.
movie? God.
I think that one has so much more comedy and so much more like it's the
the first
least
Thor is
serious.
really
of all
good.
of
I think
them.
it's actually underrated, the first Thor, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good entry.
The screaming goats. That's what it is. The fucking
Jesus.
multi-headed screaming goats.
Mhm.
Oh my god. I know that there's like some really bad effects in that one. That became a meme with that head, that floating head.
Mhm.
He like shares his power with all the kids to now all the kids can have the power of Thor. So makes Thor fucking whip ass pussy.
I agreed. You started to see the cracks in Ragnarok. Like
Mhm.
when I first saw Ragnarok, I was like, this is great. I don't see it. It made Hulk into an absolute wimp. And just completely destroyed his character. I didn't like Tessa Thompson as much as other people did in that. And I
Mhm.
thought some of the humor was just not funny. And they kept doing these unfunny jokes, like with the rocket guy. Like, was it funny? It was never funny.
He's
Not
in the
one
film
time.
more in the next one.
I was gonna say it's like times 10 with the next one. So
Right.
He's in a lot more. And the sad
Korg
thing
is
about
his
that
name,
film,
I think.
Korg, yeah. The sad thing with that film too is, I think Christian Bale could have been really good. The few bits I saw him, I liked him, but they like cut all his shit out. Because he
yeah, I
felt
heard
like,
that too.
yeah, he had like a lot more, and like the little bits I saw, I really liked it. He actually brought a bit of a depth. Just like his family was killed, it was like did revenge for his family, so you could kind of see his point of view.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale, and he was like not phoning it in, but they cut all this shit out because they had to have Natalie Portman and her character getting cancer, and then she's female Thor,
And then they had to have her CGI muscles.
yeah, and this fucking daughter who's a little asshole, and so much better than Thor.
Totally sounds great. It really sounds like a great
It's fantastic.
Great Thor film.
Can't wait till you watch it.
Number 40 is Alien Resurrection. I actually watched this one again recently. Yeah, I would put Alien 3 and 4 on a list like this because they're both really disappointing. Because Alien Resurrection, there are things about it that I like. I kind of like some of the wild ideas that they're doing. They're just not executed very well. And it's disappointing because you have an opportunity to make up for the mistakes that were made in Alien 3, and you just make another below average film that doesn't quite work.
Mhm.
So it's like you had a chance to try to, you know, make things salvageable in this franchise, do a better job, and you still blow it in the end. Like that is a letdown.
What's sad is, like me and Mark, we did a commentary on Resurrection.
We did.
There's a lot of stuff I don't like about that film, but I would sadly rather watch that than Alien 3,
Same.
Yeah.
Prometheus, Covenant, or Romulus. And that's sad.
I mean,
I
there've
don't know.
been-
I don't know about better than Romulus for me personally, but
For me, I'd rather watch it than Romulus.
hey, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
fucking-
cool.
I fucked an Uncle Fester at the end there.
Yeah, that was dumb. I hated that. And that was
yeah.
totally that felt
Fester
like
looking
just completely
motherfucker.
ripping off
Get
Alien
away from me, you
Resurrection.
bitch. At least Alien Resurrection didn't steal the fucking
No,
line.
it
Get
didn't
away
do
from me,
that.
you bitch.
It didn't
At
do
least it
that.
had, a good underwater. fight scene.
I physically cringed in the theater when the androids Andy did that.
Mhm.
I was like, after he said that, I was like, oh, I
Have
was
you
like,
seen-
you shouldn't have
seen-
said that.
Have you seen Mark's impression of Andy?
Oh,
How does Andy look, Mark?
hold on. Let me see if I can do it. It's been a minute. So he's like really sad. So he's like, the whole fucking movie. It's ridiculous.
Now as you point that out, like that is, yeah, that is his acting at that. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the underwater scene. I like some other aspects of it. I like the idea of a team of mercs. They don't utilize them as well as they honestly could have. I like some of the gore in it. But there's so many things in it that are just so weird. Like in a way that's just off-putting or just awkward. Like the whole fork. Fuck. Like, did Rob Zombie just all of a sudden start writing this screenplay? Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, Brad Dourif
Yeah.
trying to kiss.
Yes,
Scene,
that too. Or you're a beautiful butterfly.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of awkward stuff in it for sure.
Or the scene where the alien is carrying clone Ripley to the nest.
Mhm.
Like it's a fucking romance novel or some shit. They're gonna
They
go
don't-
bang later.
They are. That's why she signed on. She wanted to fuck an alien.
She wanted to get paid $11 million so she could fuck an alien and fuck the franchise over one more time.
So wait, Mike, you liked Romulus, right?
Yeah, I don't hate it. Like
Okay.
I think I've definitely soured on it. You know,
Okay.
now that I thought about it more, I think, and after I watch Alien and Aliens again,
Mhm.
it doesn't piss me off like Alien 3 does.
Okay.
But it's mid. It really is a very mid film. Like, and I think a lot of people, because of the fact that it's kind of mid, it's mid and not like the worst. And it's not as aggravating as Alien 3 and some aspects of Alien Resurrection. I think a lot of people are kind of giving some things a pass that I really don't think it should be given. So I think Alien Romulus, it would have worked. It would have been a lot better if it stuck with trying to be something that was completely separate from Prometheus.
It did a good job copying a lot of better movies.
Yes.
The entire fucking film is we copy every fucking good the decent alien film.
No, Neopunk. Like there's a lot of films that I've watched, a second time that I still feel the same way about. There's other movies that I've actually watched the first time and I wasn't as big on. Like, for example, let's say 22 Jump Street. I saw that with my parents. They weren't having a good time with it. They didn't find it to be that funny. So it kind of bled into my overall experience with it. And then I saw it by myself later and I laughed my ass off and I had a really good time. So sometimes you can watch something a second time and, it gets better. Leviathan grew on me over the years. Nothing But Trouble with Chevy Chase is another film that grew on me. So, sometimes, the opposite does happen. Yeah, they own resurrection toys, which were weird. They didn't move, like had no articulation. But it was fitting that they had weird figures for a weird movie.
Just because, like, I talk to Matt all the time about like the Alien franchise. So they've been trying to like course correct for like what 30, 40 years. Like, do you think there's any chance that they ever will? What do you think they could do to steer the ship in the right direction? Is that even possible at this point?
Right there in front of their fucking face with the Dark Horse comics. It's right there.
Okay. I thought you were going to say with Alien Earth for a second.
Just do that. Just take one of those comic storylines, adapt it for a movie, and there you go. Like you don't even have to do that much extra work. There are already like Labyrinth is a really good story. There are a lot of stuff in the Dark Horse comics that could be good stories that could work for standalone films. They don't have to tie into Prometheus. They don't have to tie into the other Alien movies. They could be their own separate stories that are one-offs, and it could be just as effective.
I agree. Yeah, I mean that's kind of one of the many problems that I have with the new Crow movie. Like, there's so many great stories there.
Yeah, in the comics. Yeah.
Or anytime they adapt a lot of different things, it's like the great material is already written right there. Just do that. But then they make up some bullshit. So
yeah,
whatever.
That's what they did with AVP, which I don't know if that counts as a sequel, but that's disappointing.
Yeah.
But number 39 is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I actually like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I saw it in the theater and I liked it. Is it flawed? Yes. It's definitely one of those films where there's too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to the script. There's too many things going on. And the tone is not consistent. Like, what the hell is up with this mad scientist guy out of nowhere? And some of the jokes are not the best. But I actually think the way they handled Harry was good and better than what happened to Spider-Man 3. I actually don't mind the way that they worked around the Gwen Stacy death. I think it actually fit. And I love Andrew Garfield's take on Spider-Man and Peter in both of these movies. Especially when it comes to like scenes where, he's helping that kid, I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, that's something like straight out of the comics. And the scene where he's trying to, stop, what was it, the Rhino, and there's all this stuff in the truck, and he's also trying to get to graduation. Like, that is totally straight out of the comics. And like the lines that he had, like it was like I was watching the 90s comics that I grew up with. It was like watching those adapted in a film. Okay. And I was starting to see Peter grow into a man too, which is something I've been waiting
I'm
to
so
see.
Tired of Spider Boy.
Yes.
So
Jesus
irritating.
Christ.
Yeah. That being said, I'm not a fan of the film.
It's cool.
I think for me, there's so many tiny, like, little things throughout the movie that just bug me. Like, and again, people might laugh for this, but like for Jamie Foxx's like hair, for example, like when
that is bad. Like, I will admit that.
That doesn't even match his race. Like, that's not.
Yeah.
Nobody has a comb over. They're black.
No.
But I mean, God, there's so many things. I mean, the tattoos on like Rhino's knees.
Yes.
I mean, like,
yes.
I mean, it's a million things in that movie, but I do like the first one though. And I agree with you about Andrew Garfield. It's a shame that like that script was so bad, and direction wise,
they also spent way too much in advertising. They spent like $200 million alone on advertising for stupid shit like water bottles. Like, they wasted so much money in advertising that they gave themselves no chance. The film would have had to make over $1 billion to make a profit. So they put themselves in a hole from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Before I go on, Matt, what about you? You not a fan?
Yeah. It's funny. Mike was talking about Aaron Romulus, how he saw it a second time, and things kind of changed from. Spider-Man films kind of do that to me, where like the first Spider-Man, Sam Raimi, when I saw in the theater back in the day, I'm like, wow, there's a Spider-Man film, cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that film fucking sucks.
Yeah, I don't think it's held up either. I think
If I watch it nowadays,
yeah,
Sam Raimi, Spider-Man, I do not
it's
like
rough.
To Be or Not to Be Maguire.
Willem
Fucking
Dafoe is
Opie
so over the
Taylor.
top and ridiculous in that, not a good
The
way.
Green Goblin, I hate the fucking Power Ranger outfit. And they had a better look, and they fucking
did.
threw it away.
They did, yes. Yeah.
I don't even care for the store. Golly gee Willikers, like that acting is like the very like campy, like Andy Griffith show acting.
It was making a Spider-Man movie like it was from like the 60s Spider-Man. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and I don't give a shit about that. That's not the era of Spider-Man I grew up with.
Exactly. Not the era I grew up with either.
I can't lie. Amazing Spider-Man 2, when I first saw it, I hated it. I watched it again, was it a year ago? And I was surprised how much I liked it. It does have flaws. Like Jamie Foxx's hair, yeah.
Yes.
But again, maybe because I just seen so many worse superhero films, so many worse comic book films. Pretty much almost everything Marvel has done like the past 10 years and shit.
Yeah.
And Zack Snyder, don't even get me started with that motherfucker. Justice League, fucking ass, 3-hour ass bleach. Justice League.
What, you don't love the random women singing and then sniffing Aquaman's shirt?
No, I don't like the 5 endings and fucking.
You think his cut's worse
the
than
Flash and his hot dogs?
Honestly, I kind of do. Just more pretentious, and it's like this is him. This is what he wanted. Martian Manhunter was this guy all along, and he did fucking nothing. He just sat there. Why the
John,
fuck did
it's
Martian
just our
Manhunter
opinion.
do
Like
nothing?
it doesn't mean that we don't know what we're talking about. If
I
we're
don't give a
not
fuck,
saying that some of the
John.
Spider-Man movies
Not gonna
by
fucking
Raimi don't
lie.
hold up. Like
I don't mind
love
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 is good, but
First film was campy as fuck. I'd rather watch Amazing Spider-Man 2. I
and
like
the-
Andrew Garfield more.
yeah.
I like the musical score a lot more. I like the action sequences a lot more. I like the love story between, was it Emma Stone or Emma Roberts? Okay,
Emma Stone. Like
Emma Stone.
say whatever you want. Like you got to be
like the love
honest
story.
with the first Spider-Man by Sam Raimi. That final fight between Spider-Man and Goblin sucks. All that build up and Spider-Man just gets his ass kicked for the majority of the fight.
Mhm.
Like that's disappointing. Like you just have to be honest with it when it comes to that. And also with Amazing Spider-Man 2, regardless how you feel about it, that suit looks amazing. Like that is like the best film suit for Spider-Man, if you ask me. Like that looks like the comic Spider-Man.
I mean, I still think Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie. That's just me.
You know what? I saw that, and I would say that probably is my pick for the best Spider-Man movie too. So
okay,
but yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2, it does have flaws, but I don't mind a lot of stuff in that. Again, I don't mind. It was just overstuffed. They tried to put too many because
yes,
they thought they were going to have 4 more films, and they didn't. Like a lot of sequels.
do the Sinister Six. They should have just focused on the whole of a few things.
Yeah.
Goblin, Harry, and Peter's parents. Like they cut that out. That should have been more of the focus.
That's right. There was like a whole like subplot about that was not fully fleshed out in the movie. I do remember that now. Okay, I didn't think about that earlier, but okay.
And a part of me wishes they just finished the trilogy. And another part of me also wishes that if they didn't, then Andrew Garfield was introduced into the MCU. And we never had Tom Holland. And I don't mind Tom Holland. But like considering how he's been written.
Yeah, it's for me, that's the thing. It's how he's written. Like the whole like
Yeah.
Mr. Stark. It's like I'm so beyond that with Spider-Man. Like
I don't care about Iron Spider.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah. For me, I don't mind the Raimi movies. There's definitely flaws. I like Garfield as well, but Tom Holland's probably my least favorite. If I'm just being honest.
I will take Nicholas Hammond over Tom Holland at this point.
I don't mind Tom Holland. I just think those films are written shitty.
Yeah. Number 38 is U.S. Marshals. I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't even think it's that disappointing. I really don't know why this is on the list and not something, like Mission Impossible 2. I think that might be on the list, but I'm not entirely sure. Halloween 5. There's a lot of stuff that's more disappointing to me than U.S. Marshals. Like, it's barely a sequel anyway, because it's just, it has Tommy Lee Jones's character.
Yeah, Samuel Gerard. Like,
Yeah.
I like those characters, and I actually don't mind U.S. Marshals. It's another one of those movies where, like, it didn't have to be the exact same thing as the original, but it feels like it's trying to be a little too close to that.
Yeah.
With a whole lot of extra unnecessary story that probably is more convoluted than it should be. So there's that. But I mean, hell, Tommy Lee Jones, Snipes, Robert Downey Jr., like Joe Pantoliano. I mean, there's a lot of people in there. Like, I can't help but like it. It's got some fun moments too, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was Robert Downey Jr. that said it was like the worst film he did. I'm like,
it's definitely not.
It's totally not. He needs to relook it, like his filmography.
Hey,
I like the film though. I like U.S. Marshals.
Wasn't Robert Downey Jr. in that movie, Hail Caesar?
Yeah.
With Anthony Michael Hall?
Yeah.
That's a lot worse.
Yes, it is.
But U.S. Marshals I found fun. Not as good as The Fugitive. No.
A little off topic, but yeah, Predator. It's actually a 9.1. It's a Samsung Q990B surround sound system, and it can get up to 11.1 in terms of like surround, with the digitally, enhanced surround channels. Nice. It's a pretty awesome system. That's all I have to say. Yeah, Blade Trinity, like that's way more disappointing than something like U.S. Marshals. So we're talking about a film featuring Wesley Snipes.
Right.
Most definitely.
Number 37, Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Yeah. Especially after 4, that was like a really good Star Trek film. And I actually think 3 is underrated. So I think they were doing pretty good. And the first film, like, that's another movie that's grown on me. I did not like the motion picture for years. I thought it was boring as hell when I was a kid. I always fell asleep trying to watch it. But over the years, I've given it more chances, and I've actually grown to like it. So it's. I think Star Trek was on a roll. First 4 films are actually pretty solid, pretty good. And then 5 comes along, and you're just like, what happened? Some stupid god thing in the sky going, you. What does God need with a starship?
Yeah, I've never been huge into Star Trek. I do like some of the earlier ones. I only vaguely remember this one from like years ago watching it on TV. So I probably am not at liberty to even give too much detail about it or what I like or think about it. But yeah, it's, as I've told Matt before, once they start to get to like this point, they get a little bit more mixed up for me.
Diminishing returns.
And like, I don't own them either. So it's not like I've been able to go back and say what's what. So yeah. I'll have to sit this one out.
There were I could have some, to be fair, I can have some fun with Star Trek 5. The cast is still fun. They still have good chemistry with one another. I actually don't mind the camping stuff and the scenes where Kirk is climbing El Capitan. But I mean, stuff like Nichelle Nichols, doing a whole sexy dance in the desert to try to trick somebody. Like, really? There's like a scene at like a strip club or something with the cat lady. David Warner is in it, collected a paycheck. I like the idea of Cybok, like, using people's emotions and everything. Like, that's interesting. It's not always the best executed, but it's another film where you could definitely tell that the budget was slashed and ILM isn't involved with the effects. So it leads to some really cheap and just bad effects scenes that really are take you out of the movie. Because I hired some company that really hadn't done that much in terms of visual effects, and they were way, way, way out of any comfort zone, or just stuck in the deep end. And 6 is a lot better, but honestly, I would think Generations is more disappointing, or Insurrection, because First Contact was great, and then Insurrection was like some bad 2-part TV episode of The Next Generation that was slapped together, just like Generations. And Generations combined Kirk and Picard, and they team up, and it's like the most forgettable thing ever. And Kirk dies in the most lame ass way imaginable. What are your thoughts, Matt, on Star Trek 5?
I could watch it. I like the first 6 movies.
Mm-hmm.
The first 6 is definitely the weakest for the reasons you mentioned, but like I said, I grew up with that show. I like those characters so much. Even in a less than quality setting, it's just that those guys just bring a lot of warmth to the characters that it's hard for me to hate.
Yes, I agree.
And it's one of the ones where the 3 of them are pretty center stage, and almost every scene has the 3 of them together.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the goofy comedy was stupid. Horror dancing was stupid.
Scotty bumping his head.
Yeah, but I love Jerry Goldsmith's score.
Yeah, it's a good score.
I think it has some good ideas. A true director's cut with fixing the effects and doing some editing, I think, would change that movie around, but they would never put the money into it.
I don't think putting the rock monsters in there would help, though. Before Galaxy Quest and its rock monster, William Shatner wanted to do rock monsters in Star Trek 5, and there's even clips of like the effects, and they're so bad.
So like canon movie bad?
Yes, a canon movie bad. Honestly, that's a good way to kind of sum up Star Trek. It's almost like canon's Star Trek movie. If you think about it.
I probably would have been fine with those effects if they worked well, because it would have been reminiscent of the old TV show.
Okay.
Like the Gorn for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it just needed... it's not Superman 4 bad, in my opinion.
No, it's not. It is not.
For me.
It's also not Caddyshack 2
yeah,
bad.
it's very flawed, though.
Which is the next film on the list, Caddyshack 2. A film that initially was going to star Rodney Dangerfield. Mm-hmm. And Harold Ramis even wrote a script. And the director of Back to School was actually hired to do it. But he dropped out of the project once Rodney dropped out. Because Rodney just didn't like the script. Couldn't get into it. He actually tried to ask, I think it was Warner Brothers, was like, well, if I'm going to do it, you're going to have to pay me more and I have to get royalties. And they called his bluff. And then he left, I think a day before they were supposed to start shooting or something like that. Well, actually not a day. It was just like a day before production. So they had to scramble. And they went with Jackie Mason. And Harold Ramis was he even said openly, this is not going to work. This is a bad idea. He was hoping that this project would just die once Rodney left. Mm-hmm. But it didn't. And they got Dan Aykroyd in it. And he did some Oliver North impression where he's speaking, like this. It's like, whoa, did you want a hot dog? Whatever the hell he was doing, which was just annoying. Mm-hmm. Initially, the script for Caddyshack 2 was actually supposed to include Bill Murray's character, but then that was replaced by Aykroyd's annoying character who's trying to kill the gopher. Chevy Chase is the only returning cast member or character from Caddyshack, and his character is just basically just Chevy playing himself, collecting a paycheck. That's basically all his performance in that movie is.
And he was supposed to direct, right, Ramis?
Yeah, but he dropped out because he was just no. I'm not. Well, actually, no. He wasn't supposed to direct. He wrote it. The director was
Okay.
the director of Back to School, and then he dropped out.
Okay.
And then Alan Arkush, he was brought in to direct it. Speaking of canon films, a lot of people mention that Caddyshack 2 honestly feels and comes across like it's a canon knockoff of Caddyshack. And that's honestly a good way to sum up Caddyshack 2. It doesn't really play out like a Caddyshack sequel. It plays out more like a knockoff of Caddyshack.
Very, very accurate.
Yeah. You couldn't do it. I don't blame you. It's pretty rough. I will say this though, it has one legitimately great thing about it. The song by Kenny Loggins from the soundtrack, Nobody's Fool. I think it's a great song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What are your thoughts, Matt? Caddyshack 2.
Still shit. There's nothing funny about it.
Yeah.
Who's the lead guy? Jackie Mason?
Yeah, Jackie Mason. He hadn't really done a lot of films before.
No, he's not. I mean, from Bill Murray and Chevy Chase and Rodney to Jackie Mason. That kind of says it all. And Dan Aykroyd I like in some movies, but he's
so bad.
He tries to be Bill Murray's character.
Yes.
And fails. He tries to have that type of outfit and that type of accent, but even like bigger and more over the top. It didn't work. Yeah, because he's the one dealing with the gopher again. Well, anyway, it didn't work at all.
No. No.
Yeah. I mean, you guys kind of said everything, but I think it's easily one of the most disappointing sequels ever to any comedy movie that was like pure gold. And it's such a big waste of so many actors that I really like. Obviously, Robert Stack is legendary.
Yes, I love Robert Stack. I mean, Unsolved Mysteries.
Of course. Jonathan Silverman, people probably most know from Weekend at Bernie's.
Definitely don't know him from Snatched. National Lampoon's Snatched with him and Andrew McCarthy. You want to know the movie that reunites those two? It's National Lampoon's Snatched, the last film that National Lampoon's put their name on. And here's what the plot is. The plot is Andrew McCarthy, there's some mix-up in the hospital, and he gets sexual reassignment surgery.
Glad I never watched it.
They snatch his dick and balls. They give him a vag. That's what it is. That's what the plot is of that fucking
Which
movie.
is like literally a joke that's in Weekend at Bernie's where he's gonna have a sexual reassignment surgery. So oh man. Talk about bottom of the barrel.
It's like, hey, they're back in this shitty movie.
I'd rather watch Weekend at Bernie's too.
Me too. But yeah, Caddyshack 2, I agree. I agree being on this list. It is disappointing, considering everybody that's involved, considering that Ramis did work on the script. And Rodney, he was like, okay, I'll do this if you fund my movie Rodney Dangerfield. Was it Rodney Dangerfield? Not Rodney Dangerfield, Rover Dangerfield.
Animated film.
And initially that was going to be R-rated, but then they changed it to G, basically to screw him over. That's a whole story with that one. But number 35 is Halloween Kills. Now I would put Halloween Ends on here because Halloween Kills, I know a lot of people don't like it. I get it.
I'm one of them,
and that's totally fine. But like, I can enjoy it as a time waster for the kills themselves, and I think it set up something that I think could have worked, but they did nothing with it. So I think Halloween Ends is more disappointing because of like, oh, Halloween Kills ends with Michael Myers looking pretty formidable, and then Halloween Ends starts with him on his ass and just being useless, and then throughout the movie he gets his ass kicked and then ultimately dies. Like, that's more disappointing to me, considering the fact that that's a concluding, film in that series. But honestly, I feel that there are other Halloween films that are more disappointing than either of those. Halloween 5, for instance.
I agree. Halloween 5, yeah. I mean, for anything great that Halloween 4 might have done, it's sort of like the Alien 3 of it all. It just
Yes.
it brings about the Thorn bullshit, which I don't know anybody that likes that.
No.
One of the worst masks ever.
Yes.
I mean, I could
It
go
doesn't
on
matter,
and on.
and also it doesn't matter how Michael Myers is brought back or who helps him. Either version is bad. It's some homeless guy, some ripoff of Frankenstein, or it's some Doctor Death, whatever DJ. What was he, a DJ or some shit or something like that?
Something like that.
Like either way, it's stupid, and either way, it sucks.
DJ Khaled.
That's also the one where Michael Myers cries. So you get that. And Loomis is just an asshole for some reason. Like it's not there's not even like any build up to it. He's just an asshole throughout the majority of the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, Halloween 5 to me is more disappointing than Halloween Kills.
I would agree with that.
I agree with that. I still think Halloween Kills fucking sucks.
That's fine. That's a valid opinion.
I don't hate it as much as Matt does, although I don't really go out of my way to rewatch it.
No, I probably
anything.
won't either.
The characters are so fucking stupid in that movie.
They are.
Like the only reason Michael Myers kills everybody is because they're the dumbest fucking people. That 2 people died and they're acting as if it was 9/11
and the whole bit with the gay couple, like it felt, and it's not just because Michael McDonald was in Mad TV. Like the way that was written felt like a skit.
It did. It felt like a comedy skit where they're coming out with like the little butter knife.
Yeah,
and it's comedy. I mean, what the fuck is this? And Anthony Michael Hall like being such a
evil
dumbass.
dies tonight.
Yeah,
like they all have like guns, so they decide to stand like 2 inches away from Michael Myers to just shooting him in the fucking head. Like you all deserve to die. Just you're all fucking dumbasses. Dumb as shit. And then Jamie Lee Curtis once again, just in a fucking hospital the whole fucking time. I could do that in Halloween too, but they did it fucking again. And then the guy, the sheriff, it's like he got ran over by a truck and stabbed, but now he's alive.
Yeah, I don't know how that'd be like saying the crazy psycho doctor lived somehow.
Yeah, he got stabbed, and you see the tire run over his chest in Halloween 2018. And somehow he's alive and just has a couple fucking bruises. Does that mean when a truck runs you over?
Well, that's what they do with Loomis. You know, like he gets blown up at the end of Halloween too. He comes back and forth with like some scars on his face.
Yeah.
At least they were at least I read that they were going to try to explain that, but sadly they didn't film it.
Speaking of like explaining things, apparently like the Man in Black's explaining like a random person just walked on set while they're filming.
Yeah.
Halloween 5 is also the one you have Tina, who's just so annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have like the survivor, is it Jamie? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuttering no, she's mute. And then you have the stuttering kid.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about cookies. Do you want a cookie?
Yeah, it's just bad.
Or cookie woman. It's a cookie woman. And Dominique Othen and Jerk Off. Like the story behind them making that movie is more entertaining than Halloween 5. That they had parties, wild parties, like every night while they were making that fucking movie.
I think it was it Greg Nicotero who was like, the guy told him like, I don't give a fuck about your ideas or whatever. Just do what I ask you to do, stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, that's the explanation for the whole movie right there.
Number 34 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I don't get why this is on the list. Like, who thought that this was going to be? I think a lot of people thought this was not going to be that great because Ant-Man and the Wasp, like the sequel to Ant-Man, wasn't like really well received. wasn't a great movie by any means. So I think a lot of people kind of expected at this point in time with the MCU, they probably expected that it was going to suck.
Not these people, not these critics. They expect it all to be. They thought Captain Marvel was great. They think all these movies are great. So
yeah,
to them, it would be.
Yeah.
I saw the film. It was shit. It was the special effects looked really fake.
Fucking MODOK. MODOK is
Oh,
not a
man.
villain that will
No,
ever work
then-
in live action. Ever.
No.
Unless it's a
Yeah.
one-off joke in a Deadpool movie where he shoots him in the fucking head.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also the fact
That's
they
it.
made him the bad guy from the first film,
Yes.
Yellow Jacket, but
Yes.
then he's a pussy, and then he tries to be a good guy for 10 seconds, then he just dies anyway because he sucks
Mhm.
so much.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Murray's there to collect a paycheck.
Pretty much.
Isn't that all he does lately?
Then
He's just there in a movie to collect a paycheck. That's it.
you have the whole Kane thing, which that blew up in their face.
Oh, so badly with Jonathan Majors, man.
They have that bad guy Kane they don't have in all these like big Avengers movies. So they're setting him up in here, and that didn't work out.
Yeah, that actually happens in that movie. He gets defeated by ants.
Yeah. And yeah, calls all the ants. And Kane, that version of Kane, because there's multiple versions of Kane. You find
Still,
out at the end.
Like even one version
know.
of Kane getting defeated by ants.
I know. I said that in my review. I don't know if it's still up, but
That's stupid.
yeah. Just calls on a bunch of ants
So lame.
and
Gets defeated by a bunch of aunties from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
can't remember if they were big ants or small ants. I can't remember.
Did you see Ant-Man 3, Mark?
Some of it, I don't like any of them, to be honest. I mean, I want Hank Pym. I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of get it, but you don't. Not the way that you want it anyway.
Mhm.
And for me, if it's not really that, like, don't care about Scott Lang, don't care about
Yeah.
like just the way they utilize the character in the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of just been comic relief the entire time, so it's like,
Definitely.
very
Absolutely.
forgettable.
The next one is The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. I haven't seen it. I honestly, I think there should be other films like Halloween 5, you mentioned that. Nightmare on Elm Street 5, that's more disappointing than something like a Hunger Games sequel.
Mhm.
I've never seen a 100 Games movie in my life. I'm fine with that.
Have you, Mark?
No, I have not actually.
I think Mortal Kombat Annihilation would be a good pick
Boot.
if I could speak.
Would be a boot.
Would be a boot.
It's a boot.
And no, I actually haven't seen Yoga Hosers, so I don't know why the hell
Oh man.
I all of a sudden did that. But yeah, I think Annihilation, that would be more disappointing. There's a lot of stuff I would put on a list of disappointing sequels over a Hunger Games movie. Yeah, Friday the 13th Part 8. That's another one. Jason Takes Manhattan. Yeah, cool idea. Good marketing. False advertising. He doesn't take Manhattan. He takes
Okay.
a cruise ship.
So I gotta ask Matt. Question for Matt. I know you don't like Part 8, and you're not really a fan of Part 1. Which one would you rather watch, or which one do you think is better or more
Part one.
entertaining?
Part 1.
You think Part 1's more entertaining?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the
Interesting.
same way.
Okay.
I would.
It has a good, better lead actress, Adrian King.
Yes.
You know, like Jensen Daggett.
No.
No.
Who does?
You listen to that commentary. She doesn't even like herself in the movie. She just makes fun of her performance the whole time.
No, I don't like the Friday the 13th film with Jason becoming a Cabbage Patch Kid at the end. I don't like that.
Like here's the thing. I think the first Friday 13th is just okay. I think
Yeah.
it's just okay.
I feel the same way.
I just this for those who don't know, me, Mark, and Uncle Bill were doing our top of. I was like, oh, I'm surprised no one said Friday 13th one on 1980. And I didn't know, like, even Uncle Bill was like, it's not that great of a movie. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know he said that. That was refreshing, but he's wrong about lawn lights.
Part 5, do you think that's disappointing?
I like it for what it is.
You mean Friday 5?
Yeah.
No, I really like it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan now. I wasn't at first, but I am now.
That's one I've been kind of warming up to over the years. I'm still not a huge fan, but like I would rather watch that over Part 8. In terms of other Part 5s, like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 is up there for me. Like, it has one of my favorite kills, the motorcycle kill, but like that doesn't mean that it's a good movie or a good Nightmare on Elm Street film. That one definitely feels like they were running out of ideas and just were throwing shit at a wall and hoping that it stuck. And Robert is at his worst in that one because he's tired. The man is fucking exhausted. You want to know how much work Robert was doing that year? He was directing his first ever film, A 976 Evil. He was doing Freddy's Nightmares, and he was also doing Phantom of the Opera. So, like, the man was absolutely exhausted, and it shows in his performance, which is why I actually like Freddy's Dead more. I actually like it a lot more than Part 5, but that's just me. What are your thoughts on Nightmare 5?
Me personally, not a fan. Just something about it did feel very, I mean, they were all somewhat rush jobs, like towards like once you get to that point.
Yes.
But it was very uninspired in a way, but
yes.
And this may sound contradictory, but like I think Hopkins was inspired, but I don't think the screenplay was very inspiring. Because I think he has a certain visual style that would have lent itself to that, and there are certain sequences that look really cool.
Yeah, some of the stuff with Amanda, some of the other, you know, there is some good direction in that.
Yeah, the whole like when it goes really far, when they draw back and it's like all the staircases. And, some of the other stuff where it looked like just like paintings and like drawings and stuff, which I'm sure was probably all him because I know he was like an artist beforehand or whatever. Yeah. So like I like a lot of that stuff, but overall as a movie, not really a fan. It just, I mean, the whole comic book kill thing,
Super Freddy.
Yeah, it could have been okay. That played out better, but
though,
it's just
exactly. So dumb.
Yeah, and again, like he's got to do what's in the script, so I don't 100% fault him for
like
that.
the girl who died jumping off the diving board, like really?
Yeah, just
or the girl who gets fed all this food.
Yeah, not a good script at all. One of the worst for sure.
And then the Freddy baby, like that was laughable.
Oh yeah.
And then like the way he dies, it felt like they just ripped off the end of 4. Like, let's just do this again, but worse.
Yep.
What are your thoughts, Matt? Is Friday 5 disappointing? Would you put it on a list of most disappointing sequels?
Friday 13th Part 5?
I meant Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Oh yeah, I would put that on that list.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of the film because Part 4 is my favorite, and they do nothing with the Alice character. By the third act, she's pretty much in the back seat. Yeah. She's not as powerful for some reason because her kids got to puke Freddy to death. And I mean, there's some cool kills, but yeah, Robert Englund's, I would say, is his worst Freddy performance.
Definitely.
It's the worst I thought the makeup looked. And it didn't have a consistent tone. The look is really dark and gothic, but it's trying to be more like silly.
Yeah, Julie, I forgot. She didn't die on the diving board. It's been a while since I've seen it.
No, she lives at the end.
She survives, right?
She was in People Under the Stairs, that actress.
Much better movie.
Fool's sister, I think.
Yeah.
Which I heard there's going to be a remake by Jordan Peele.
Hopefully that never happens.
Now, number 32 is Godfather Part 3. Yeah, that is definitely a disappointing sequel. I think that's justified being on the list for sure. I mean, Francis Ford Coppola is back as the director. You got Al Pacino. And then for whatever reason, Coppola had this bout of nepotism that became just so acute that he decided to cast his daughter, who can't act, in a major role.
I mean, it's very much a departure though, because it's more so like white collar crime, right? From what I remember.
Yes.
And I mean, hell, there are certain things about it that I think are okay.
Yeah.
It just,
just when I thought it was out, pull me back in.
yeah, hell, it was nominated for Best Picture. I mean, I could see some of what the Academy saw in it a bit, but like, I wouldn't put it on the list though. Like,
Andy Garcia's in that too, right?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't put it on the list. That's just me, though. I'm sure Matt would, though, because I know he's not a Godfather fan.
I don't even know if he put it on a list of disappointing films because he's not really a huge fan of the first two. So would you consider it be a disappointment?
I don't give a fuck about any Godfather films. So I don't care what list is on. And the third was definitely the worst and the most boring.
You don't care what offer they give you.
No. And
you're going to refuse it.
And that girl was a Sofia Coppola?
Yes, she was awful.
She could not do it.
She got roasted, and rightfully so. That's why there's the Coda version, which like significantly cuts down her role, if I remember correctly.
That movie's just so fucking boring. Godfather 3. I don't like any. I think all the Godfathers fucking boring. Goodfellas, Casino.
Those are my. I like those a lot more.
But goddamn, was that movie fucking boring. And fuck Francis Ford Coppola. He's a fucking asshole.
He is. He's he's a sympathizer of the P to the E to the D.
Yeah, that's right.
He loves his Victor Salvas. He loves Victor Salvas right in his pocket.
That's why I don't give a fuck about. I didn't really care about Megalopolis anyway. It just seemed like a
who did
incredibly lame, boring passion project.
Not even the fake credits that was in the fucking trailer.
The trailer that was so bad.
Oh, there's all the bad reviews they got.
They used AI to create these fake fucking reviews for the trailer, and then they deleted the video, and then they were all like, "Yeah, sorry, we used AI. It sucks."
You're not gonna show any support for that one. He's gonna lose all his money. It's all his personal money in that movie.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in America is a pretty hard set as well. That's pretty slow.
Well, hopefully his vineyard went to a better person.
I didn't like that one either. And that's also really critically acclaimed. Once Upon a Time in America.
I haven't seen that one. Can't comment.
Matt, if you want to see a phone ring for 5 minutes at the start of the movie, that's the film for you.
Sounds better than Skinnamarink.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Number 31 is Jaws 2, and I do not understand why this is on the list. I don't think it's disappointing, and I don't think it's a bad sequel anyway. Like there was no way that Jaws 2 was ever going to be as good as Jaws 1.
Right.
That's just a given.
That's probably why they put it on the list.
It's an entertaining film, though. It's not a bad movie.
No, not. I mean, I actually think it's the best sequel of the bunch.
I do too.
I don't. I like Jaws 2, but I think Jaws 3 is my favorite.
Okay.
Okay.
Dennis Quaid's on cocaine.
Dennis Quaid being coked out of his mind. All right.
Dennis Quaid's on cocaine. You got SeaWorld. You got a guy stuck in a shark's tooth like a piece of meat.
Yeah. You got Leia Thompson.
He needs a toothpick. You got dolphins. So what else you want?
More cocaine.
Yeah.
But
I got a lot of cocaine.
I enjoy Jaws 3 too. Like but
yeah.
I would say Jaws 2 is better.
I like Jaws 2, but there's too many fucking scenes of people gliding or whatever the hell they're sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gliding. They're hang gliding.
Like half the movie is just people sailing for like 10 minutes at a time.
I will admit there is too much.
I like the film. I like Roy Scheider. I like the ending. I like the film, but goddamn.
I like the idea that the shark is all scarred up after it got blown up.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't give me another fucking 5 minutes of people sailing. Goddamn. Like, they could cut a bit of that out.
You're like, if I want to
Yeah.
see all these scenes of sailing, I'll just watch Summer Rental with John Candy again, right?
Right? Yeah.
Or I'd be like, what
There you
about
go.
Bob? I'm sailing. I'm sailing. I'm sailing.
By the way,
I could
that
sail.
that movie is so underrated. I love What About Bob.
Does it not even have a Blu-ray?
No, it's like,
Yeah.
see, he's still there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
no
it was
Some kind
on
of
Blu-ray.
radical new therapy.
That's
No.
crazy. That doesn't. Wow.
It's because it's another Disney movie that they don't give a shit about. Like, they're never gonna release Stakeout on Blu-ray. That's why I have a custom Blu-ray.
Mm,
Even though that was like one of the highest grossing films of that year.
it's crazy.
Yeah, never been on Blu-ray. What
Hey,
about
thanks,
Bob?
Sean. I like no, thanks for the super chat. I like Jaws 2 on this list, but not 3 or 4. Fun fact, the actor who plays a teenager that gets eaten was the orange kitten in Aristocats. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
It's a cool piece of trivia right there. Didn't know that either.
Yeah, there's Santa Jaws. There's all kinds of dumb shark movies.
Yeah, this is all.
Speaking of dumb shark and Jaws, there was a subplot in Jaws of Revenge. I don't know if you heard this, Mark, that the shark was going to be controlled by voodoo.
It should have been. That's awesome.
why the shark traveled as long as it did. That's why the shark knew where she was.
That was in the book, right?
It was in the book. Yeah, the novelization of Jaws of Revenge, which is like almost 400 pages long for some reason. I have no idea.
And it's in the
Why?
book because that was the original idea.
Yeah.
Was that they put a voodoo curse on someone who didn't like Roy Scheider's family, put a voodoo curse on the family.
Yeah.
And so thus the shark will hunt them down. Even to the Bahamas.
That's awesome.
And then they actually did make a voodoo shark movie later. Of course they did.
Should have been a sequel to Serpent in the Rainbow. A Bill Pullman in it.
Don't kill me. I'm not dead. Number 30 is Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
I love. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if I'd put that on here, but I would have never really had the same expectations anyway for it, just because that's a lightning in a bottle type movie, the first one.
Yes.
So you can't do that again anyway. As far as for what they do deliver with Book of Shadows, I've always been so curious for like Joe Berlinger's like original version of what was supposed to be. That's why when they were talking about these new releases that were coming out, I was hoping that like, hey, maybe we'll get his cut, like, and see what he was originally going to do and see what like the original shooting stuff was, or maybe they had the original script, like his original ideas, but there's none of that.
No.
That being said, there's something about that movie I just enjoy. I don't know, maybe it's the tone of it, mixed in with the look of it as well. I also like Berlinger as a filmmaker. He's very interesting. All his stuff that he's done, I think, is very, very interesting. But I could totally see how a lot of people would hate it, though. It is in no way a sequel at all. It's just a movie that has Blair Witch stuff in it. That's literally it.
I haven't seen it in years. I remember not liking it because this is around the time when I didn't really like the first film. But I was like, oh, maybe I'll like this because it's not found footage, you know, because I gotta admit, like I was that kind of person, you know, when I was younger. Like I could not get into found footage. But Blair Witch Project's a film that over the years, the more that I've seen it, the more that I've really learned to appreciate it. So honestly, I wouldn't mind revisiting this one because I haven't seen it in forever. So I don't even really remember much except that I didn't like the movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I honestly, I don't think your feelings would change on it. It's very much an acquired taste type movie. I did grow up watching that one on cable all the time. It was just always on.
Yeah.
So that might be a little bit of it for me. Like,
would you say it has is it in comparison in some ways to something like The Rage, Carrie 2?
I think that movie's way more fun than this for sure. But yeah, you could say it's a bit like that. Although this movie, Blair Witch 2, is a bit more like, it just feels disjointed in a way. Like you get the gist of the story, but there's definitely issues. I mean, the editing and other problems. When you do watch it again, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Rage Carry 2 is actually really fun. I enjoy that movie quite a bit for what it is.
Uh-huh. What are your thoughts, Matt? Book of Shadows.
I love the original. So I saw the film because it was curious, because I was really into the first film. Still am. I read the comic book. I read, saw the fake documentaries on Sci-Fi Channel. I was really even played, I think, the game for PC.
Yeah.
I saw the movie. I went, "What the fuck is this shit?" I didn't give a shit about the characters. You had the goth chick and weird dialogue. You had the boring ass couple in the Scooby van. You had the psycho guy. It was weird, like supposed to be scary, but it started with this big Marilyn Manson song. But and like the sheriff is like trying to be Roscoe P. Coltrane from fucking Dukes of Hazzard, like, "Hey son, what you doing here for? That's crazy." Fucking
Sheriff Sling Blade.
yeah, pretty much.
Sheriff Sling Blade over here.
And trying to remember the film. Yeah, so you tell was messed with after the scene, after the fat. Like, you tell there's stuff put in there that was meant to be more gory that seems out of place.
Yeah.
For that type of movie. And I don't know, certain things, like what they're going for. Like, what is even the message of that film? Because if it's, well, if they're obsessed with this,
so
it makes them crazy.
Yeah, they're fans of the movie, the first movie. So in the second movie, the first events of like Blair Witch, like, is just a movie. And they sell merch for it. Like, there's all sorts of stuff that, like, they just make money off of it. So you have those few main characters that Matt was just talking about, and the lead guy has like a huge, it's mostly like a warehouse, but it's supposed to be like his apartment. And they all are gonna go out and do like this, I don't even know what you call it, excavation type hunt thing, but it's like a tour / something else. They all fall asleep. They get really fucked up after they party too much. They wake up, their equipment's destroyed, and they're trying to figure out what happened. And they go back to his place, and that's like 20 or 30 minutes in, and then like the rest of the movie, you spend that time at his place. But basically it's a bunch of fucked up stuff that doesn't really make sense, but it does make sense because it's all in his head, and turns out he's actually crazy. And but again, like, the movie's so disjointed. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if I don't know if like that was supposed to be the main point, if like it was just mass hypnosis, or if it was only him, or what Berlinger was trying to get.
But the girl killed the lady at the store as she watched the footage, and then the one guy his wife. It's like this. That's when he's doing that spit take. This fucking bullshit. So they were all killers. So it's like,
it's really fucked up.
They just met each other for like 2 hours, and all of a sudden it's a mass hypnosis. After like they met each other for 2 hours, I'm like, what the fuck?
So mass hypnosis. But if it's that's what it is. So
I guess, well, because they're all crazy. They all kill people, but they don't realize they kill people. But the footage tells the real story because they all watch the footage at the end. So she thought she was threatening the store lady, but in the footage she really cut her throat. So they thought this girl jumped, but instead in the footage they all pushed her off and she was hung.
So is Dr. Firecrotch from Poltergeist 3? Is he behind the mass hypnosis?
That's why I'm like, so wait, if it's supernatural, it's not really that much explained or barely harped on. And if it's mass hypnosis, it's like,
well,
after like an hour with each other.
I didn't know if it had to do anything with that one girl, because like she's like Wiccan or whatever, and she's practicing her whole thing. So it's that movie's really messed up. I mean, I need to see like a commentary or something on it. Like, I don't get what he was really going for with it.
I didn't get it either.
Austin mentions that there's not even a Book of Shadows in the movie either.
Yeah.
No.
No. But again, that could have been another thing that was possibly cut out. Like I know
Yeah.
he was fucked with the entire time during the production of it. So
Yeah.
it is kind of a mess of the movie.
It's
because,
kind
like,
of surprising that he didn't, put a pseudonym on his name then. If he was just
Mhm.
Maybe it
completely
wasn't
messed with
allowed.
during the entire production.
probably
'Cause
couldn't
that's
get
what
out of it.
that's what Kevin Yeager did with Bloodline.
Mhm.
Like he was so completely fucked over by Dimension that he was just like, just take my name off of this. This isn't the movie that made.
It was just weird also because that guy made Paradise Lost, and it seems like
he did the documentary series Paradise
Yeah.
Lost. Yeah, that's why that name sounded familiar to me. It's a great documentary. Hard watch.
Yeah.
like those are about kids. They're similar to these kids, only
Mhm.
they weren't killers, but here they are the killers.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought was like a weird thing. Like, is that kind of weird? Like you made a documentary about kids who were accused, but they weren't really killers. But here they're
Mhm.
accused, but they really are killers in your movie. It is a weird thing to do back to back. Like, what are you trying to say? Maybe
Yeah.
I just looked too much into it. Like, what the fuck?
No, I see where you're coming from.
I was just
Or
looking too much into it.
that could have been the studio's point of view.
Yeah.
Too, like maybe they were like, hey, there's your correlation. That's your
Yep.
movie.
Yeah.
Number 29, I don't agree with at all. I think it's bullshit that this is on the list, to be honest. It's Live Free or Die Hard. I love Live Free or Die Hard. I like either
Me too.
version of the movie. I saw the theatrical cut, the version, that isn't unrated when it came out, and I loved it. Had a lot of fun with it, and I still really enjoy it to this day.
Yeah. Last fun Die Hard sequel to me.
One of Bruce Willis's last great films, too.
Yes. It's weird that it's on the list. I mean, I'd put the fifth one on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fifth was on here later.
It is
on.
on there.
It is? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least there's that. But I would totally take this off and put anything else on the list. Like, I don't get that. I mean, I get what they say. Like, so there's like a little paragraph just for context for some people that don't have the link open.
Yeah.
Like it says that like the first three are like a great threequel, which I agree with. That's true. And while you could say the fourth movie doesn't necessarily have all the makings of a true Die Hard script, it does have all the John McClane-isms and crazy stunts and stuff that you would expect that character to do.
Blowing up a helicopter with a police
surfing
car
on the wing of the jet and all that. Like
well, that's what
like
they hated. They said it was too superhero.
No,
I thought there was all bullshit because all of these movies are unrealistic in comic book in terms of what John McClane does. Like, you don't jump off a building with a fire hose around your waist and like survive and then smash through a window. Like, I mean,
right.
We all do that.
You don't get into an ejector seat in a plane and then it explodes. And if you fly through the air and then you're able to land safely, like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, with the grenades that last like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
without exploding.
No,
it's like grenades are supposed to be like, but they stay there, and it's like, oh, you don't blow up. You don't blow up, right?
Uh-huh.
They don't blow up until you just then they blow up.
Yeah. Or how about the scene in Die Hard with a Vengeance? With him and Sam Jackson where they jump off the boat or something, or they jump onto the boat, like
off the bridge, right?
Yeah,
exactly. You fucking die doing that stunt. You're not gonna live through that. You're not gonna make it on the boat.
What about when like the water pressure shoots him out of like the sewer and then he flies up in the air?
Yeah, he surfs on a truck. In Vengeance, that too.
Yeah, it's all sorts of crazy stuff like that. So,
and I don't care if it's unrealistic. Like, it's fun. I prefer my action films to have fun with reality, because it would just be boring.
Yep.
And I like Justin Long. It's one of the few Justin Long roles I actually really like, is him in Die Hard 4. Even the actress who was in the Thing prequel, she plays John McClane's daughter. I forgot her name. She was also in Sky High. I didn't mind her in this as well. Timothy Olyphant speaks through his teeth too much.
I was
my tastes.
Just about to say, like, he's probably the weakest thing. If you could say there's any weak point in the movie, him as the villain is probably the worst.
Yep.
Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I didn't mind her. But like, yeah, he just Oliphant was not Oliphantastic. in this.
Always in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's a fun one. Maggie Q was fun as her in her bit role. Yeah.
Mhm.
That Asian bitch, she's down at the bottom of the elevator shaft and that SUV rammed up her ass.
Yeah, that's a great line.
And I liked the plot. I thought it was different. You
Yes.
know, the whole fire sale thing and, you know, making people think that, you know, they blew up the Capitol, but, you know, it was all, you know, a fake video.
Mm-hmm. Which
In a
could
lot
be
of ways,
done today.
a lot of ways it was kind
Yeah.
of, it was honestly ahead of its time with its plot, if you think about it, with the
Yes, it
whole
was.
hacking thing.
Yeah.
Now,
Sure.
number 28 is Major League 2. I mean, I love Major League. I think that's a great film for what it is. I never really thought there was ever a need for a sequel. So I probably wouldn't put Major League 2 on a list because of disappointing sequels, because I never really felt like we needed one anyway. So I didn't really have like expectations that were that high for Major League 2. But it isn't really that good, especially compared to the first movie. You can't replace Wesley Snipes with Omar Epps. I mean, no.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest gripes with it. I mean, like it just
And making Wild Thing not wild anymore is boring and cliched. Like, oh, now he's no longer Wild Things. He's, you know, getting all these endorsements and all this other shit. And now he sucks. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean,
And some of the new additions, like the catcher guy, who's like a Gomer Pyle character, and isn't that the one where the Asian guy shows up too, Kamikaze,
yes.
whatever?
Yeah.
Now there's some aspects of that film that I do really enjoy, like Randy Quaid and those fans. Like that's hilarious. Like it
Mhm.
really does represent a lot of fans in a multitude of different sports fan bases.
Mhm.
But and Tom Berenger's still good,
Corbin
but
Burnson.
in Corbin Burnson, he has one of my favorite lines in the first movie. You know, strike this motherfucker out. But yeah, the first film was a classic though. It's one of my favorite comedies. Like there's so many things about that just crack me up to this day. Looking through all the list of players to maybe add to the team, and then they're like, this guy is dead. Well, cross him off then. Or all the fans being like, who the fuck is this guy?
Agreed 100%. I mean, it's not a sequel that I ever thought like would even be on the list. It's not great, but I mean, it's not that bad.
No, it's
Like
better than the third one.
right. And you know, it made money. The second one made
Yeah.
money, so like yeah, I don't hate it.
What do you think about Major League 2, Matt?
Fucking sucks.
They struck out?
Yeah, like Austin said, they went from R rating to a PG.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
all the edge is gone. The actors don't have much fire and energy to them, especially Charlie Sheen.
Oh,
Plus,
yeah.
you don't have Wesley Snipes.
I like David Keith in it, though. I did like his role in it.
I barely remember him in that, to be honest. It just wasn't funny. It was not nearly as funny as the first one. And I think the first one was just a one
It's
and
a
done
one-off
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we. Well, I was just going to say, I don't know if we need to go a bit faster because we're like 2 hours in. We're
I'll
at
try to speed up. There are some that I don't really have a whole lot to say about, so you know we'll speed up. Trust me. Number 27, Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales. I think both those sequels could maybe be on there. The first film was great. The sequels were not as good, and they got a little bit too over convoluted and watered down or bogged down with and waterlogged with all these different plots and everything. And there are some fun action scenes. There's some decent elements in them, but they're kind of a mess, in all honesty. The Pirates of the Caribbean sequels.
I haven't really seen them. I only remember the first one.
I was gonna say the same. Like, I don't really remember this one
Mhm.
that much. If I've even seen it at all.
Yeah.
At World's End is the third one, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Don't think I liked that one from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a big Pirates guy. Never really got into them the same way.
Yeah, I would say it is a franchise that got worse with each movie for sure. Number 26 is More American Graffiti. Never seen it. I've never
never saw
seen the second one. I don't know. Was anyone really asking for more American Graffiti?
Well, it was a huge hit, so of course they don't try to make a sequel.
The second one though was a massive bomb. Speaking of bombs, flops. Number 25 is Coming to America. I remember being honestly a little bit interested or intrigued, or maybe a little bit excited. You know, Eddie Murphy, all these other cast members, all these other people coming back to do it. The directors were two guys who worked with Eddie before on a movie. I think they were guys who did Dolomite, right? Didn't they do Dolomite Is My Name? And I thought that was great. So I thought, you know, maybe, you know, this could be something good. And then I saw the movie and it was awful. It was unfunny. It was boring. You basically make a really boring, lame version.
I thought you didn't mind it.
Coming to America?
Yeah, I thought you gave like a 3 out of 5 on.
I don't think I did. It was a rant. It was a rant. Maybe that might have been in the past.
Oh,
but I definitely.
I remember your letterbox. I thought you gave like 3 out of 5 or something. Maybe
I definitely don't feel that way about this movie. I did a rant on that film. It's not average. It's just bad. It's really bad. And like the whole thing with he just does the same thing where now he's the father who's disapproving of the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, why would you just retread that same plot line?
Well, it makes no fucking sense for his character too, considering what his character's like in the first one.
Exactly.
So.
No.
But he's also the one that got date raped.
Yes, that was fucking
by Leslie
stupid.
Jordan.
Leslie Jordan? the bad guy from Swamp Thing?
Or whatever the hell her name is.
Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jordan.
Might as well be a guy. She looks like a fucking guy. I don't care. She's an unfunny fucking asshole.
She's so bad. She's like one of the worst members of SNL, if you ask me. I never got why she...
I'm sassy. I'm sassy. You sucky. That's what you are.
She's just loud. That's all. Leslie Jones is just loud. Not funny, just loud.
Yeah, nothing good about the sequel. It was disappointing in every way possible.
Yes.
It's a bit. It's abysmal. I think we can move on. It's terrible. I think everybody knows that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Number 24 is Wonder Woman 1984. That's not disappointing to me because I didn't really like Wonder Woman. I was one of the few people that was like, this is a lame version of the first Avenger.
But a lot of people did, and even then, this is way worse.
Oh, it is, for sure. Chris Pine being brought back by taking over this one guy.
Well, they took over the guy's body without his permission, and then Chris Pine wouldn't even have sex in this guy's body. So that was a lot like, you know, a guy's body could be used fine and dandy, and it's just comedy.
And Gal Gadot, once again, sucks so much. She has all the acting ability of your average model in a Maybelline commercial. Just so bad. And then she has more dialogue, and this gets preachy too at points. And Pedro Pascal was shit in that. Like he was acting like he was in a canon movie. I was like, is this Gene Hackman in Superman 4? Like, what is this performance?
I blame Patty Jenkins. Those are the takes that she wanted, and that's the direction she gave to her actor. So that's what we got.
Exactly.
Got to do a duty.
I got another super chat. Thank you, Sean. Oh, I did give it 3 stars. I've done shit like that on Letterboxd. I've done shit on that like that on Letterboxd.
I wasn't crazy.
But I changed my mind, and then I forget that I gave it a rating like that, and then I don't do anything with it because there's all this other stuff on my mind.
You lie. You
It's
fucking lie.
I'll try to. I'll think about changing it later if I
Fucking
remember.
lie. Fucking lie, man.
No, number 23 is Zoolander 2. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I didn't see it. Zoolander 2.
Another sequel that was over a decade too late.
Yes.
Honestly, I think the first one has moments.
Yes.
But I don't love the first one.
Right.
But yeah, the sequel for sure is just
yeah. The first film, a lot of people love it. I don't love the first film. I am kind of in that boat where it has its moments. It's entertaining. You know, what is this? Set of your ants? You know, there are some enjoyable, fun moments in that. Billy Zane is entertaining in it. But the sequel sucked. It wasn't funny for the most part. I mean, even Salma Hayek, who was hot in that, couldn't save that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you seen Zoolander 2, Matt?
No, I haven't seen it.
Number 22 is Star Trek Insurrection. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Because First Contact was great. Well, that was the first Next Generation movie I thought was actually really good. And then Insurrection comes along and you're like, this is boring. Some plot about some fountain of youth.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, and then like there was guys with stretchy faces. And then and then there was a plot that seemed like there was a whole bit where they collected stuff behind the spaceship, which is exactly what happened in Galaxy Quest. So I'm like, Galaxy Quest did that better.
I better remember that film. It seemed like you just took 2 episodes of a TV show, you put them together.
Yes.
Like, that's how far the plot went. And
yeah. It was like Generations as well. Like, what are your thoughts on Generations? Just while we're talking about Star Trek.
Me?
Yeah.
I fucking hate it. As a fan of the first 6 movies, like that's what Captain Kirk goes through. He's having eggs, and then he gets on a horse, and then he fucking dies on a bridge. Just fucking is on a bridge and fucking dies from that. Fuck this shit. And like, then you have this thing that you can go back anywhere in time. So instead of going back to, I don't know, the ship and arresting Malcolm McDowell, let's just go back 50 seconds.
Yeah.
You have this whole next is you go anywhere in time. Mm-hmm. Go back to the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Then Kirk would be alive and all this shit would not have happened. No, you go back 50 seconds for some fucking reason. And there's Kirk buried on a fucking planet. None of his friends around.
And I don't think Generations is on this list. I
no,
remember correctly. And I think it should have been because Insurrection sucks, but Generations is way more disappointing.
And then Data with his emotion chip always laughing. That was really annoying. And Insurrection, I better remember much about that.
If I want to see a film where Malcolm McDowell is a bad guy from the 90s, I'll stick with Tank Girl. But yeah, Insurrection sucks. It's pretty bad. Worf having puberty, Riker and Troy getting horny, dumb. And the villain with F. Murray Abraham, stretchy face. Definitely a forgettable sequel.
Well, since Mark, you're not into Star Trek, would you have even seen this one?
Don't remember it. Like I said, I remember the early movies, but not any of the later ones. Like if I have seen them, they would have blurred together to me. Like
Nemesis is kind of disappointing too, to be honest. But number 21 is City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. What do you think about that being on the list? I think that it's not a great movie, but there are other sequels that I think are more disappointing.
I liked that one a lot as a kid. I have not seen it in maybe 20 years. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen that. So I don't even know if it's bad or if it deserves to be on the list or not. But as a kid, I loved it. So I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I really like the first City Selectors. This. That's all I gotta say. Just like Jack Palance is playing the brother, and John Lovitz being irritating as hell. It just was not nearly as funny or heartfelt as the first. The first was actually about something. It was about a guy with a midlife crisis trying to find a smile to save his marriage. And you see, like, Daniel Stern has his issues, and Bernard Kirby has his issues about commitment. Like, it was actually about something with the characters. Here,
Crystal and Stern are in the sequel, from what I remember, right?
Yeah, they are, but not Bruno Kirby.
Okay.
And here it's just, we gotta go find some gold. And that's it. There's no other character.
Cash grab. The epitome of a cash grab.
Literally, they're going for gold. It's a little cash grab. And that's all there is to it. And it's just, we gotta find gold. And here's John Lovitz being the whiny brother of Billy Crystal.
So has there ever been a film where John Lovitz has a significant role where it's been good?
The Critic.
Yeah, but I mean a film role?
Yeah.
I know,
we have
right?
to think that long. It's probably no.
I don't know.
Like maybe in a bit role, like his character in like The Great White Hype for a little bit, and maybe a few things. And just off topic, have you seen that film, Mark? The Great White Hype?
Is it Damon Wayans and Jamie Foxx? Yeah, I've seen it. I remember.
I enjoyed that one. I think it's actually pretty underrated. Like it's definitely ahead of its time in terms of the satire of, boxing promotion and just everything in general. But number 20 is Blues Brothers 2000. That sucked. I watched that for the first time recently. That is so bad. I don't know why they made that movie. Just do a concert. That's really just do a reunion concert. Just do that. Why did you make a movie? Like Dan Aykroyd said, "Oh, I did it as a tribute." Like it's a shitty tribute.
Yeah,
to John Belushi.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it'd be better just leave the memory of the first one, Belushi's like stuff intact, and just not do anything. Not a fan of that one.
Oh, thank you, Sean. Thanks for the super chat. He says for him, Blues Brothers 2000 is a time waster, kind of how Matt is with Crocodile Dundee 3, despite his problems.
Sure.
Enjoyed anyway. Not as good as the first, but I think it has fun moments and great music despite thin plot. I don't think the music is as good as the first. That's just me. I would rather watch Crocodile Dundee 3 like 3 times than watch Blues Brothers 2000 again. And he had that kid who just seemed like we want Macaulay Culkin, but we can't get Macaulay Culkin, so just hired this lookalike kid.
Exactly.
And John Goodman was just out of place.
Yeah.
And I like him, but he just doesn't fit with Dan Aykroyd.
Barely remember that film, to be honest.
You don't remember them turning all green and then doing the Caribbean dance with Erykah Badu?
I don't.
Number 19 is Independence Day Resurgence. That's not disappointing. I knew that was going to suck. Like there's no disappointment there. As soon as that was announced, I was like, this is going to be awful. Don't make this movie. And then they're like, Will Smith isn't going to be in it. And then I'm like, ooh, well, then definitely don't make this movie.
If Roland Emmerich had followed that up, him and Dean Devlin did that like right after the first movie. Do you think it could have worked?
Maybe.
Okay.
It would have had to have a different script, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, you can't have Bill Pullman's character get sick and then die. Like, you can't do that. We're just on some Resurgence, Matt. Is it disappointing?
It's fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's How do you feel about Will Smith nowadays? His character was likable. They kill him off screen. And then Jada Pinkett, not Jada Pinkett, Vivica Fox,
Yeah.
his movie wife,
Yeah.
she fucking dies later on, falling
Yes.
into CGI rubble land.
Uh-huh.
His son, the character who plays his son, couldn't act.
Is it Usher's son, right? Or something?
I don't remember the
Was it
guy's
Brandon T.
name.
Jackson? Was that it? Was that who played that character? No, he was in the Big Mama
I don't think
sequels.
it
It was a
was.
different guy. It was Usher's son. I forgot what the fuck his name is.
I don't know.
Terrible. He was terrible. He has no charm or charisma whatsoever.
I try to remember who the other guy was. The
Jesse
white bread
Usher.
guy. I was trying to remember who the other guy was. The wannabe Glenn Powell, whatever the fuck his name was.
Oh fuck yeah. Oh, one of the
Yeah.
Hemsworths.
Mhm.
Was it Liam or something? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, Liam Hemsworth.
I
And
can't
then you
remember.
have Jeff Goldblum back, and some of the other actors, and like they're just taking a paycheck. And like the finale with that giant alien, like give me a fucking break. It was
Yeah.
the movie stinks.
I remember they asked Vivica Fox, like, so why didn't Will Smith come back? And she flat out said, she was like, well, they didn't want to pay him.
Mhm.
That's it. So he didn't come back.
Exactly. And the strip sucked.
Number 18 is
Didn't Prince Spire came back and was his character like gay or
Yes.
something?
I don't remember if he was gay.
Yeah, I don't remember that. but
Maybe.
Maybe.
I thought like
What?
he was like there was some guy with like his boyfriend and like he's sad that his boyfriend died or something.
It could be. I don't remember that though, but I don't know why he survived though. They never
they
make
want
any
Brent Spiner.
sense out of that.
They don't give a fuck about sense. Set pieces are stupid in that movie too. They're just
So bad. It's such a bad movie. 18 is Cars 2. Never seen it because I've seen the first Cars, didn't like it. I know Cars 2 was considered to be like one of the worst Pixar movies by a lot of people. Remember seeing the trailers and I was like, why is this a Bond parody? This doesn't fit. And apparently a lot of people felt the same way about it.
well, it mostly stars Larry the Cable Guy, so you know it sucks.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
man.
He's the tow truck guy. And
Remember
he has a lot of
when-
screen time?
Remember when they were trying to make him a movie star, health inspector,
Yeah, it didn't work.
Delta Farce,
It didn't work.
A lot of wasted money.
the Tooth
was.
Fairy 2.
They wasted a
God.
lot of money.
Well, isn't he also in Jingle All the Way too?
Yes,
as
he
well?
is. He's the sequel
Yes,
guy.
right.
That's what he is, not the cable guy.
I'm surprised they haven't made a shitty direct-to-video sequel to The Cable Guy. Now that you mentioned The Cable Guy,
It would-
starring
it-
Larry the Cable
It
Guy.
would be. It totally would be. You know it.
Number 17 is Terminator Salvation. I wouldn't put it on. I actually don't mind that movie. Like it's not
Same here.
great, but I don't think it's that disappointing, and I definitely don't think it's as as bad as Dark Fate or Genesis.
Yeah, I actually don't mind it either. It's the least blasphemous of all the sequels to me.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really do anything that like the original movies tried to do before, except for like steal a line or two here and there. But they tried to do their own thing.
Yeah.
The whole subplot with him thinking like he's human and all that
I
stuff.
like that.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It's fine. It's a fine movie. There's some cool action scenes in it.
There's some aspects of the direction that's a bit janky, the shaky cam and all that,
That's
whatever, quick
Big
cut
G's
stuff.
signature. Like that's his style.
And Anthony Yelchin was in that too, right?
Yes,
Yep.
he was.
And I liked him a lot in that. And
Yeah,
Christian
rest-
Bale wasn't bad either. I
Rest
know
in
there's
peace
that.
to him. I thought
Yeah.
he was a cool actor, but
That
gone
was
way too soon.
so unbelievably tragic and
Yeah.
just absurd
Yeah.
when it comes to his death.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Christian Bale, yes, the infamous on-set rant, about the lights and everything and whatever that a lot of people remember when it comes to that movie.
Yeah.
And honestly, he was kind of being an asshole. like really. But I don't mind the movie for what it is. Number 16 is Superman 4. I used to watch this a lot as a kid, along with Batman and Robin. It does not hold up. It's bad. I mean, Nuclear Man with his elite press-on nails of death. Yeah, Superman's weakness is the sun, which is like that's where he gets his powers. Doesn't make any sense that his weakness would be the sun. I don't mind the whole idea of collecting nuclear weapons, but it came across really poorly with Jeremy. Jeremy's writing a letter to Superman today.
Yeah, it's easily the worst one. I think everybody knows that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Gene Hackman was also bad. John Cryer was annoying as hell on that.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Pillow, dubbed by Gene Hackman.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty awful. And I didn't know you could breathe in space. That's a new one. Mark, where would you rank Superman 4 in a list of worst comic book films? Just real quick.
I mean, story, acting, effects, it's pretty low. I mean, it might be one of the worst of all time.
Yeah,
there's a lot of other really bad stuff, but they didn't even try.
No.
So yeah, I mean, for that, I'd have to give it a 2 out of 10.
I mean, canon, they had a budget for it, and that it was slashed right before they started shooting, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely does affect it, but I think it still would have been bad either way, because canon, I just don't think they were the right people to be helming a Superman movie.
No.
Number 15 is Sex and the City 2. Don't give a fuck. Really don't care. Never saw the first Sex and the City. Never seen a single episode of Sex and the City. So
I have seen the entire series.
Oh,
I have seen both movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
I would not necessarily put it on the list, but it is a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is a bad movie.
I've never seen it, so I've never seen any. I don't think I've seen any Sex in the City, so I don't know any much.
Yeah, when it comes to HBO and Showtime, I've probably seen almost everything that they've ever done.
Okay.
There was a long while there where that's all I did was watch all the shows that were on there. And
Sopranos.
Yeah, and I have everything.
Wire.
Yeah, I have all those. I have all that stuff. So oh God, that guy. And he would go on to do that a few times in that other movie with Ed Norton, 25th Hour. I don't know if you guys have seen that. He does that.
I've heard about that one.
Yeah, that's a good movie though. Really good movie. But yeah, it's not good. Yeah, we don't need to spend any time on it though.
Sex and the City 3, Revenge of the Kills. Number 14 is Space Jam: A New Legacy. I don't know why it's on there. Did anybody have any hope in Space Jam 2 with LeBron James?
Did.
No.
LeBron
did. Exactly. He's the only one.
LeBron had hope. LeBron desperately wants to be Jordan.
That whole movie is so bad. I saw it at the drive-in, and I'm a big Blazers fan. Dame Lillard fan, and they did him so dirty in that movie. I was like, wow, he's the one that gets the worst treatment out of all of these super basketball players. Great. But yeah, it was terrible. And LeBron James actually somehow was a worse actor than Michael Jordan.
Mark, did you ever follow basketball?
I mean, I think more so in the 90s, and obviously being from Chicago, the Bulls. Yeah.
I was a Bulls fan growing up too. I mean, mainly because of Jordan. I mean, a lot of people were.
Yeah. But after that, a little here and there, but not really. I was always more and people that I know would hate me for saying this, but I'm dude, I like some hockey's cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Football, that stuff's fine. But
I
You're not into sports? more so violent sports. Like I like wrestling, I like MMA,
Okay.
I like stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But I would always tell people, like, like there's definitely a certain amount of skill required to play those games. I get
Yeah.
it, but they are kids' games. Like, kids do play those games. Like,
Ooh.
kids don't do MMA. So that's a hot take. I know people might hate
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I would
yeah,
tell
yeah.
my friends, more so to piss them off, though, because they
Yeah.
would always shit on wrestling, and I'm like, no, man.
Well,
Like,
I'm not gonna do that because honestly, wrestling it takes a lot of skill to do that. It's
Yeah.
not. There's a lot of genuine athletes who
Mhm.
do wrestling. There's some that aren't really that athletic, to be perfectly honest. They coast on charisma and promo work, but
Mhm.
it's still not something that I think is easy. And
Wait,
I do think.
wait. You tell me we got a black guy that don't play basketball in here? What the
No, I
fuck?
don't play basketball.
What the fuck? You were outlined on the resume, Mark. We needed a basketball
did.
player. We figured you're black, so you have to have basketball jerseys. That means behind that.
Oh yeah,
Nope.
LeBron James was in the House Party remake.
Oh,
Did either of
shit.
you see that?
Dude, I forgot
No.
that happened too. Wow. No, I saw like a trailer, and that's all I'll ever watch when it comes to that.
I mean, because to be honest, it's like, why did we have so many House Party movies anyway? Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think there were 4
There was
before
4.
the remake.
Mhm.
Number 13
No, I
is.
think there was 5, wasn't there?
Oh yeah,
Was it a 5th one?
number 13
Think
on the
so.
list is another. I do think this is a disappointing movie, Rocky 5. I noticed a lot of people who like it. I've never really got into it. Like even as a kid, I didn't like it. It's like, hey, let's go back. Let's take you back, do 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 do, to the first movie, but worse.
Mm.
That's honestly a lot of how I feel about it, and also Rocky being dumb enough to allow Paulie to handle things financially. Like why? So we could have a movie, so he could lose all his money. I thought his kid was kind of annoying. Tommy Gunn was okay. And like the end street fight wasn't even that great. Like, give me Rocky Balboa any day of the week.
Great. Great. I just saw the comment. They did do a White Man Can't Jump remake.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
They did
bad.
one. Rocky, I agree. Like Rocky 5 is disappointing. I can watch it. I can, especially the work print version.
Yes.
I think that's a much better version.
Yes.
I have not seen that. What's different in that one?
The way Stallone acts just felt a bit better.
Yes.
There's a few more scenes added in that made it feel a bit more dramatic.
Okay.
I don't think there's as much rap music. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they put
No,
more
it doesn't. I don't think it did because they didn't have like the rights. So the
they
work
put more of
print.
the Rocky music.
Yes.
So it's more the actual Rocky music.
Yes. I hated the rap music. Go for it. God, that song sucks. Ass.
The ending, there's a little bit more of Mickey talking to
Uh-huh.
Rocky during the fights. It's not
Okay.
as schizophrenically edited. I think I remember Bergen having like a good emotional scene.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I'm getting confused with Rocky Balboa, but I just remember like no, he doesn't die at the end on that word print. That was just what the original plan.
That is a great song though. Gabo. Yeah, Measure of Man is great. I really do like that song.
Yeah, the original idea was they were going to kill Rocky. I don't know if they ever filmed it, but no, that's not in the work print.
I'm glad they didn't do that because I would have hated that.
But yeah, I thought the work print. If I watch this film, I watch that. It just seemed to flow a bit better. It just seemed
Austin. Yeah, it kind of does. That's just the Vanilla Ice feel to it.
So the work print
Surprised he wasn't on the
like
soundtrack. It was Vanilla Ice doing "Go For It" instead of whoever it was. Was it MC Hammer? It was MC Hammer.
MC Hammer was in the film, yeah.
Number 12 is Revenge of the Nerds 2. I disagree with. I actually like Revenge of the Nerds 2. That's actually my favorite Revenge of the Nerds movie. Is the second one.
Well, actually, Mark, did you ever see Rocky 5?
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah. But that version, where could you find that? Is that like online or something?
Yeah, that's it was on Daily Motion. Let me see.
Yeah, send me the link. I want to check that out. That sounds really interesting.
What is
Yeah,
your thoughts though on the theatrical cut, Mark? Would you put it on a list of disappointing sequels or not?
I mean, I don't think so. Like, I don't mind it. I mean, between like 4 and 5, it'd definitely go for 4.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. I'm really interested to see this other cut.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that. So,
that's funny. Someone put it on YouTube.
oh wow, okay.
That's
So,
Didn't
I
need
wish
that.
they
I want to
I
see
wish
that.
they were able to clean that up and remaster it properly and release
Right.
that
but there's not a lot of work prints they
instead of
do
like a
that for.
Rocky Balboa director's cut that I know is probably going to suck because of everything I've heard about the Rocky 4 director's cut. Craig, White Man Can't Jump sequel. 20 years later, White Men Can't Stand Up.
All right, Mark, I sent it on your Instagram.
Nice. I'm gonna check that
So,
out. Thanks.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the next sequel on the list is Revenge of the Nerds 2. I actually enjoy Revenge of the Nerds 2. I think it's a fun movie. That's just me personally. I actually liked it more than the first. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't mind the Revenge of the Nerds too. I liked it. It's not as good as the first. The first is weird if you watch it now because
Yes.
a girl, they pretty much drug her and
Mm-hmm.
he bangs her when she's unconscious,
Yes.
pretty much.
They set up
What happens?
they set up the video cameras like and just peep on these women.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably feel the same way. The first one, I mean, that one's got to be R, right? Isn't the first one R?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And the second one is not doesn't
No.
have that same punch. So I'm
I just
assuming
like-
it would have been PG-13. Okay.
Yeah, but I just like the
Yeah.
plot better of the second movie. You know, and I like the characters and I like the different sort of stuff that they got into. So like I don't think it should be on this list, like in all honesty. That's just me personally. Number 11, Batman and Robin. Another film I used to watch a ton as a kid, along with Superman 4. I don't know what was wrong with me. But and I saw this in the theater. I saw so many shitty movies in the theater and dragged my parents to see them, and I apologize to my parents. Like, drag my dad to go see Kazan in the theater.
Man.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Spawn, like, yeah, subjected to a lot of horrors in the theater. But Batman and Robin, loved it as a kid. Not so much now. It's pretty cringe-inducing. It's like if you make an Adam West Batman movie, but like with forced camp and just out of place humor and it's just bad. It's so bad. Schwarzenegger, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. It's like,
See,
no,
you know what? Like,
there were no dinosaurs.
it was
in the Ice Age.
terrible. It's terrible. It's not a good movie, but I can watch it and laugh at it. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it necessarily, but I mean, the Batman credit card. I was gonna say that. Somebody just mentioned it. All the fucking dialogue, like it's just, and
my lips,
come on,
my rubber lips are immune to your charms.
Exactly. Like, who writes that stuff? Fucking Akiva Goldsman. Like, that guy. I don't necessarily want to call him a hack. I mean, because he has written some stuff I like, but man,
how they did Bane.
What the fuck was
just a lackey for Poison Ivy. And
he's a chauffeur.
Hey,
He's a chauffeur. He carries bags and he parks her car. It's terrible.
He's played by Jeep Swenson, the guy who played the Final Solution. He was the Final Solution in like WCW, and they're like, we can't have that. That's too controversial. Cut that shit out. Stop calling him the Final Solution. He's not a neo-Nazi. Chicks dig the car. Yeah, Robin was so annoying. He's just such a brat in this.
Yeah.
I think the Dark Knight Rises should have been on here. Like, I think that's way more disappointing to me personally. But that's just me. I mean, Bane with the Dark Strong. They haven't got Bane right. Period. Bane is not Bane without the Venom. I'm sorry, and they made him Talia's bitch. So each time with Bane, and both of the movies, he's some lackey for somebody else.
I mean, that's a little harsh. I don't know if I'd say he's like the lackey. He is somewhat of a gun for hire, but I mean, he's kind of like the
He's not a
mercenary
lackey,
type.
but he's definitely some. He's
Yeah, but they do have that kind of relationship just a bit in the book. Like I do remember something like that. So
I just love that Batman took the time to make a building on fire with his emblem when everyone's dying. People are dying. What do I need to do? I need to have my bat signal on fire in a building for some reason.
Yeah,
just the Crow did it.
And my back gets broken. It'll get easily fixed. By just falling.
I never understood.
Somebody kicks my back and then punches my back and gets it fixed. That's totally how it works. And then if I tie a rope to my back and then I fall multiple times at a pretty high height, my back's not going to get fucked up again.
I never understood in that film. People are like, cops are trapped underground, right?
Why would they send all cops to begin with?
Why don't they just kill all the cops if they're all trapped in one location? They have a whole city hostage. So why don't you just kill all the cops? It's not like we need hostages. You have a whole city of hostages.
Yeah. Also, why doesn't a SWAT team just shoot Bane in the head? Like, why do they have to run it? Why did all the cops running at each other? Like,
why didn't they starve to death down there, trapped in a?
Why do you have all the cops
each other
running at Bane's gang of criminals or the people who were let loose out of Arkham, like it's gangs of New York? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Why is his name Robin?
Yeah, I definitely see your guys' points, but I don't hate it that much. I still think it's okay.
That's okay.
Like, but I mean,
the bomb at the end, like that's literally like let's take the scene in Batman 66 with Adam West running around with a bomb. Let's make that. Let's do that, but more serious.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I guess he just quit being Batman.
It's really difficult though to like say that like it's as bad as it is, just because like, I mean, what the hell were you gonna do not having Heath Ledger? He wasn't gonna recast him. I'm sure that this was not the plan.
Two-Face. That's probably something you could have done.
Yeah, but that was already done. Like that was already done in Dark Knight. So like what's done is done. You don't want to try to resurrect him because then people would have a problem with that.
I would have been okay if they did a better version of the Riddler, Hugo Strange, something along those lines. Like I've seen Michael C. Hall casting.
I have no problem with Bane being used. Stuff. Just don't have him sound like Sean Connery trying to be Darth Vader. You picture me on the welcome to guys. What do you think you're doing over here? What's going on? I just like just explain a couple things. Explain how the fuck Batman got inside the city. Yeah. Explain how there's that one fucking guard in the prison when he escapes, and there's that one fucking guard.
He's a ninja.
Watching.
He's crafty. He'll find a way back.
Yeah, when he escapes, was garbage.
When he escapes that fucking prison from the hole, there's not even one fucking guard there. That one fucking guard watching in case something happens.
As a fan of Nightfall and Night's End and No Man's Land, it's insulting what the writers do with those arcs. They just do a terrible job with those arcs in The Dark Knight Rises. So that's why it's more. And I've had this back and forth sort of flip-floppy thing with the first two Nolan Batman films. And I've grown to actually appreciate the first two over the years. So the third film is just so disappointing because of that. Because it's just so bad. But we're getting to the top 10 here. I'm going to try to do a speed run. Number 10 is Exorcist 2, The Heretic. I don't think that should be on the list because that was never going to be good. And it was a stupid idea. And like, what is disappointing about it? Like, it was always going to be bad.
They put on the list just as a sequel to a film that is deemed a classic. So your follow-up is such a shitty movie. And you can do a good one because he had The Exorcist 3.
Yeah.
Like if Exorcist 3 was Exorcist 2. Like if Exorcist 3 with George C. Scott, if you took that movie, you change it Exorcist 2,
Yes.
that's a great follow-up.
Bane talking with Sean Carter is like a Venom started talking like Mike Tyson.
Because I love Exorcist 3.
Yeah, it's
the
great.
Second one, not so much.
I like the theatrical cut the most, though. I don't really care for the director's cut of or the extended version of Exorcist 3.
And that had James Earl Jones Exorcist 2. Speaking of which,
it did. I am Pazuzu.
James Earl Jones was a giant locust.
Awful
what are your thoughts
movie.
on Exorcist 2, Stuntman Marq?
Awful. Not a fan. Linda Blair's hot in it, but I mean, that's it. That's what I always say.
The tap dancing, getting hit by rocks.
Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na,
Yeah,
na.
Poltergeist 3, like, it's not on the list. Yeah, that I would say it's a little more disappointing to me than Exorcist 2, but I get why. Now that Matt mentioned it, like, I can understand why it's on a list like this, considering what it's a follow-up to. I love William Friedkin's story, though, about Exorcist 2. Where it's about the guys who made this piece of shit, they're in the room right here now. Number 9 is Terminator Dark Fate. I don't really, I mean, that's not disappointing. Like, Genesis, where's Genesis then? Like, I think that's more disappointing.
Yeah.
Because after what happened with T3, and especially when James Cameron endorsed it.
Because Rolling Stone likes, they even say in the paragraph, they liked it. They thought it was fun, Genesis.
I see that now. Oh my God. Whatever.
So that's why. They thought it was fun.
They liked the stupid scene with the mugshot.
They did.
With Arnold's Terminator.
They thought it was fun, Mike.
The gal from Game of Thrones who took a paycheck and can't act.
You just don't like fun.
Her way out of a paper bag, shows no charisma.
Fun. You despise fun.
I like good movies.
Why you hate fun, Mike? Why you fucking hate fun?
Oh, I like fun. If it's
I like fun
movie.
too, especially in my pants. But that's
I mean, hell, you're talking to the guy who likes the movie Fun, which is a pretty trippy, weird, underrated film, if you ask me.
I saw Everybody Needs MILF, which was a request for a Penthouse movie. That was kind of fun.
Was that more fun than Genesis and Dark Fate, Matt?
Yeah, and The Crow, 2024. But God, Dark Fate fucking sucks.
It's horrible. That's the worst Terminator movie to me.
Dark Fate?
Yeah, because it literally shits on everything that you like from the second movie.
Well, hey, here's Edward Furlong. Oh,
right.
We're gonna shoot him in the fucking face.
Well, Mark, you want Edward Furlong back? You got him.
Yeah. Even though he's not really back, he's in a cameo role. That's essentially all it is.
It's CGI, Furlong.
Right. Why even hire Furlong to like de-age him? Like you could have
just... They hired him to die.
Yeah. Could have saved some money, just do an all CGI Furlong in there. But yeah, it's god awful. Nothing works, bad dialogue, bad script all around, making Arnold a drapery guy, talking about changing diapers, and all his jokes are terrible. Linda Hamilton's jokes are terrible. I don't like the action in it. The idea of some of the stuff that the Rev 9 can do is kind of cool, but it's not utilized as well as it should have been. It could have been a lot more like clever action scenes, but it wasn't. It's just bad all around. It's awful.
What is up with these Terminator sequels and basically just taking the shit on these other Terminator movies? Like Genesis did the whole thing with the Terminator from the first movie getting its ass kicked way too easily.
And you're from a deleted timeline.
Yeah, and then you have the whole thing with John Connor being the villain. Like what is up with these fucking sequels? Were they written by the same jackasses who wrote The Last Jedi? That's what it seems like.
Because in their eyes, they say this is doing something different. Yeah. And that's their interpretation of it.
And
if I decided to get up and fart in my microphone on this live stream, that would be something different. That doesn't mean it's good.
Well, we don't say Mark.
Well, you look at how bad Dark Fate is. Like, it literally killed Miller's career. I mean, he's doing reshoots on Borderlands, and look at that movie.
I did.
So, you know,
It didn't
like
work.
it's yeah.
It didn't work.
Do you think, speaking of Borderlands, do you think that was actually shot R-rated? Like what
Yeah, the
Eli
stunt
Roth was
guy,
talking about?
a stunt guy who works on the film said he worked on it. He said it was R-rated. They shot stuff that was R-rated.
Yeah.
But Tim Miller came in and the studio wanted a Guardians of the Galaxy type of PG-13 film because it cost $100 million at least, and they thought it was going to make more money. And of course, we saw it didn't make many pennies.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. Number 8 is The Hangover 3. I think both those sequels, are pretty disappointing. I was just thinking about them. Gave me a little bit of a burp there. Hangover 3 is just depressing and like not funny. It's like they decided, let's make a sequel to the Hangover films. It's just not a comedy anymore.
Didn't laugh once.
Agree.
The whole movie went by. I never laughed. I was like, wow, okay, this is a terrible movie.
Agreed.
It's like and then Hangover 2 was just such a lazy copy and paste of the first movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one guy got his butt fucked, and that was funny, supposedly.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's funny if a guy got butt fucked.
They did a lot of jokes about lady boys, too, in that one, I remember.
Because lady boys are funny.
That would not fly today. Can't do that now.
Oh, no.
Cannot do that.
No.
Gremlins 2, I'm glad it's not on this list. It's not. It's not disappointing. I actually think it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Number 7 is A Good Day to Die Hard.
Just the title.
Remember, Matt?
Like, listen to the title.
We both kind of fell for it initially, didn't we?
It's
not that bad. And then
because I saw in the theater and I liked all 4 of them, and I did not want it to suck. So I'm watching the theater. I'm like, okay, it's a movie theater and big explosions, and okay, you know, I loved the first 4 Die Hard films a lot. I would say that was one of my favorite action franchises, like Rambo.
Yeah,
I don't want a bad. See, people don't realize I don't want a bad movie.
It's like, why isn't Last Blood on here? Speaking of Rambo, like that's more disappointing.
People like
than some of the sequels on that. Why
do they? I didn't know that.
Why does anyone like that movie? I don't understand.
A lot of people they were pissed at me. I read them all. they like that one, but yeah, I saw it in the theater. I wanted to like it, so I fooled myself into it. I bought the Blu-ray. I watched it again, and it just didn't work at all. Now, I've seen Die Hard 1, 2, and 3 countless times. I've seen Live Free or Die Hard, which I don't remember if I said my thoughts on that. I love that film. Saw that in the theater. It's a great experience. I watched it. I wish it was R-rated. Even the unrated cut, you could tell they just add the curse words after the fact.
Yeah.
But I still really enjoy that film. Good Day Die Hard, I saw one time on Blu-ray. I don't even know if I have the Blu-ray anymore. I might have sold it. Because it just... I fooled myself. I fooled myself into wanting to like it. Because I did.
You played yourself.
I don't want to hate this shit. I really don't. I want to be surprised. That's what people don't understand. This is a great feeling. I know not everyone likes Beverly Hills Cop 4. I like that film.
I
Not
liked it too.
perfect, but I liked it. I saw that again not too long ago, and I liked it. It has its flaws, but I liked it. This one, John Moore sucks as a director. He did Max Payne with Marky Mark. The action scenes are not that great. Bruce Willis has the dumbest dialogue. I'm on vacation.
Oh my god!
You're not on
Shut
vacation.
up.
Your fucking son is in jail.
Shut the fuck up, John.
You went to your son's in jail, so you know you're not on fucking vacation.
And Bruce didn't even say the line. Like, it wasn't like a new version of him saying the iconic line, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." They just took it from another movie and just slapped it in there.
Yeah,
it was lazy.
They took it, I think, from Die Hard 3.
Yeah.
They just took the line and put it in there. The delivery of the line.
Mm-hmm.
So they stole the audio.
And Jai Courtney sucks. Dick.
I won't disagree.
What are your thoughts on it? Because you like Die Hard 4, Mark. What are your thoughts on
Hated it.
the suck hard?
Yeah, like I said, just the title alone, like, is terrible.
Yeah, he didn't act like McClane. That too. Like,
yes, that's another problem. I mean, there's many problems, but like, just the whole thing, it's so forgettable. I didn't like any of the action scenes. There was one chase scene that was kind of okay, but still like nothing I'd go back to watch. I'm pretty sure I do have. And doesn't the Nakatomi Tower set have all 5 in there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I do own it at least, but I'll never watch the disc. Like that's one where I will never ever watch it again.
Yeah.
I don't need to see it. I know what it is.
Unless someone requests it.
Yeah, I mean, unless somebody requested for us to watch, like maybe. But that's the only way. I'll never watch that movie again.
I mean, so speaking of Beverly Hills, speaking of Beverly Hills Cop 3, I mean, Beverly Hills Cop movies. Beverly Hills Cop 3, that's not on the list. I would put that on the list for sure.
I would. The first scene is a bunch of fucking people dancing to a song.
It's Diana Ross song, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah. Because that's John Landis. He thinks Mickey Blues Brothers again.
Yeah. Then you got Surge as a weapons guy now. Like, where the fuck did that come from? Now he's making designer weapons.
Well, it's not a weapon. It's also a microwave. It's also
it's a boombox and
Jerry Lewis music.
Judge Reinhold has like the dumbest job with like the longest and stupidest title.
IDDSPA, whatever the hell.
JDDISOC or something like that.
Yeah.
Hector Elizondo is basically just there to be poor man's John Ashton.
Mm-hmm.
Axel Foley wears an elephant mascot.
Yes. Yeah. Dresses like an elephant. And then you have Axel Fox at the end.
Oh yeah,
he's a mascot.
Uncle Dave.
That's a lot. That's way worse than a lot of the ones on this list. So it's something like Turtles 3. That's pretty disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They go back in time to the samurai age, and it's boring. We got really bad jokes like "Help, I'm a turtle, and I can't get up."
Yeah.
So what were you expecting? The Addams Family? No, I was not actually.
Yeah.
And then weird jokes like the turtles getting all hot and bothered and horny over April, like swing.
Because Wayne's World was a thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're RoboCop 3. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Fred Decker.
I'll be honest. I mean, I know we're getting to the end here.
Yeah.
I'll put Wayne's World 2 on the list. I'm not a fan of Wayne's World 2.
Okay.
And I love the first one. Wayne's World 2 was very disappointing to me.
Yeah.
So on my list, Wayne's World 2 would be on there.
That's fair.
I did not like that one at all.
Okay.
I thought the first one was just so much more creative with the fake endings and we're getting a concert ready. I don't give a shit.
You're not a fan of Wayne Stock?
No, it's what the
like
fuck?
the naked Indian guy or whatever the hell, or
yeah.
the whole the guy who is the roadie who's just constantly making all these stories that are just full of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely understand why. But yeah, Turtles 3, yeah, that does not help that the turtles look terrible in that. Like really bad. RoboCop 3, yeah. That would probably be on a list for me. The first 2 films are great. The third movie, let's make it PG-13 for some reason. Have evil Steve Martin as the bad guy, and have Robert John Burke, and it just sounds slow. You're under arrest.
He was not good in that at all. I'd rather watch him in Thinner or some shit like that than watch him in
Dust Devil.
And Thinner's not great
He's
either.
Good in Dust Devil because he doesn't say barely any lines. He's just there to be an intimidating presence. Like, but in RoboCop 3, it's so bad.
Mhm.
Did you call for backup?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
backup in my toilet because you filled it full of shit. And the robot ninjas, like, what a joke that was.
Oh, man. Horrible.
Like, RoboCop doesn't even defeat them at the end. The fucking little girl, like, who's a hacker, she hacks into them and they kill each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah.
And Rip Torn just hamming it up to
Oh,
extreme levels in that
that's
movie.
right. I
What
always
have you
forget
got, war wacky?
Yeah. I forget about that all the time. So bad.
Like, they don't even get the satire elements right. Like, you have the Commander Cash thing, and like the OCP guys who kill themselves because the company's going under. I like Jill Hennessy in it, but she can't save it. And Nancy Allen, like, taking a paycheck. That's basically what that is. Her acting when she's dying is laughable.
Mhm.
Go
Right.
get him, Murphy. Get it from me. Yeah, RoboCop 3, bad. You better call the fire department. or my favorite one is like, you're gonna kill us all, you stupid slag. It's like, don't count on it, chum.
Yeah.
It's like, now he's Adam West. It's Batman. Great.
Yeah.
Speed 2 is the next one on the list. Cruise Control. Yeah, that's awful. Like, why in the hell? Yeah, let's make a Speed sequel and a cruise ship.
It's one of the reasons why Keanu said no.
Yeah. The script sucked, like he said, and we see it did.
At least Sandra Bullock got a pretty big paycheck out of that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Speed 2 is bad. Jason Patrick is miscast. I don't buy him in that role.
Here's the weird thing about Speed 2 for
Yeah.
me. If you took that film and you called it, just don't have it be a sequel, just call it Cruise Control. I know and just have Keanu Reeves in it. I don't think I would hate the film as much.
Oh. Yeah.
Because I do think, just don't have it be about speed. Just have it be more like Die Hard. On a cruise ship.
I mean, just have it be I mean, because he's stealing diamonds and shit like that on the ship.
Yeah.
Just have it be Willem Dafoe is a bad guy who knows a lot about bombs and he's stealing stuff. And somebody's got, it could be like a, rip off of like an Under Siege type movie set on a cruise ship.
It doesn't even have to be Keanu. It could be a different actor too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like instead of Kurt Russell being in the boring as hell Executive Decision, Kurt Russell in Cruise Control. I'd watch that. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And don't have a boat like going towards the pier for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Speaking of Keanu, yeah, John Wick 4, I would put that on a list of disappointing sequels for sure.
Well, that's 100%. On my list. That's on my list.
We got this lame villain who's trying to be like Jean-Claude Van Damme in terms of his accent and failing miserably. You got Scott Adkins in a fat suit acting like he's in Spawn. Like, I swear to God, he's acting like he's in fucking Spawn.
You got Mark. You know who else is in that?
Just that guy. I'm so tired. Just the worst.
Doing his best Van Damme impression.
Oh, man, he was so
Mark
awful.
loves Bill Skarsgård.
No, I don't. I don't know how everybody else does. I don't hate him, but it's like he's always like chosen as the guy, and he's so not the guy. But like he's fine in like supporting stuff.
It's like when Joel Kinnaman. This is like when Joel Kinnaman was considered to be. Mark, this is like when Joel Kinnaman was being forced down our throats. Like he's the next guy. I'm like, no, he's not.
No, exactly.
But
RoboCop is not it.
But he actually turned good in films like Silent Night. How do you feel about the film? He's good in it, I think.
He's good in the Suicide Squad and his bit role in that too. So he's gotten better. But at the time, no.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I could think of he was in was RoboCop. I can't think of many other films Joel Kinnaman was in.
He was in another film with Liam Neeson. He was in some other stuff.
He wasn't really the star. Run All Night.
Yeah.
But here is like Barbarian and The Crow,
Yeah.
and John Wick 4,
Yeah.
and Pennywise, and
Yeah.
he's going to be in another
Nosferatu.
one. There you go. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he's gonna be in
a new
that.
one.
But number 5 is Nemesis. I know Mark hasn't seen that, more than
Star Trek.
likely. Star Trek Nemesis.
Yeah,
I could
so-
see why that's on the list. I saw that in the theater. I was kind of on it. I mean, Data dies, so it's not. I don't think it's the top 5 worst, most disappointing sequel, though.
You have a very young Tom Hardy in that as the
Mhm.
bad guy.
Shinzon is his name.
What's it supposed to be a clone of Picard?
Yes.
Evil clone. It's
I thought he did a
young-
better job as Shinzon than as Bane, but that's just me.
It's a very young Tom Hardy.
I wouldn't put it on that list, but because I actually think it's better than Insurrection. It's actually probably my second favorite Next Generation movie. But honestly, a lot of those films are disappointing, the Next Generation films. But number 4, Dumb and Dumber 2. God, that was so bad.
Yeah. We not noticed like the reoccurring theme of like these decade late sequels
Mhm.
of comedies that just don't
So bad.
they do not click for whatever reason.
They're not
and
funny.
No, not at all.
And Jim Carrey, he acted like it was somebody doing an impression of his character from that movie. Like, it was bizarre.
Yeah, it reminded me of like what Jay from Jay and Silent Bob does in like
Oh, God,
Reboot
yes.
and Clerks 3.
Yes.
I've said this before.
Jason
It's like
Mewes, yeah.
it's like he forgot how to be Jay. Like,
Yeah.
and it's sort of the same. Also with like Bill and Ted Face the Music with
That should have
Keanu
been on
Reeves.
here.
It's the same thing. It's like they can't do that performance because it was so much of that time. Like that's like the actor that they were
Yes.
then, and like
Like,
just
Alex
doesn't
Winters
work.
is kind of okay in that, but like Keanu is just not. Like, he can't do it
Doesn't
anymore.
work. No.
And that movie's terrible. That's definitely disappointing because like
that should be on the list.
everybody came back. So that's the thing that's really disappointing about it, is that the director is back, the same writers are back. So you think they would know better to do the right thing in terms of the script, but instead they just completely made Bill and Ted losers. They're getting divorced.
It's not the same director, right? Of the first, I don't think it's Stephen Herrick.
No, is it?
No, I don't think you said it's the same director.
No, it's
I
not
don't
the
think
same
it's
director, but like the same writer. Okay, I got it mixed up. I think he was involved in pre-production at one point, but then he wound up dropping out. But yeah, you have a different director, but like the script is by the same people, so they should know what they're doing with these characters. And
they did.
don't.
The women are better. The daughters are better. They
didn't
go
write
through
the
both-
song.
They
that
go
saved
through
the world.
both films in one film. They do everything those two did in two.
Christ.
They did it in half the time in one.
Terrible.
So the
God
daughters
awful.
are better. They didn't matter. They were useless until their daughters came in their lives. 'Cause
Definitely.
they ain't shit. We didn't see 2 fucking films where it's just them alone in the fucking future with no daughters. It's here you go, guys. You don't want to save the future. And by the way, we're not going to show any of your fucking kids. Now they're the ones who fucking really did it. Not
You want Bill and Ted stories that are better? Read the comics. They're so much more satisfying than anything in Bill and Ted Face the Music. And I've saw people defend that movie. I don't understand. I don't get it at all. And what makes it even more disappointing is that Alex Winter, there's actually a interview with him for like the special features where he says, I don't want to do one, because, that time has passed, and it's like, why did you do it? Like, you literally said that I don't want to do one because I don't think it'll get done right. And I don't think, we're going to be able to do it. Well.
And Keanu.
Yeah.
Because I know he's really good friends with him, and he said he did at least enjoy working with him on it. So
yeah,
that was probably he got to hang out with Keanu for like 3 months. So
Ryan, Karate Kid Part 3, that would be on a list for me. That is definitely a disappointing sequel for sure.
Fuck that movie.
I mean, you go completely backwards with Daniel's character. Now he's a fucking pussy after he did everything that he did over in Japan. Like, it makes no sense.
Mhm.
And like, there's just so much about that sucks. Like, the tone of it is off. It doesn't really fit with the other two movies, and the love interest is useless. And like the final fight, like, really, that was what you went with?
Yeah.
But yeah, Dumb and Dumber 2, like, that was just a misguided idea to begin with. It should have never been made, especially
Mhm.
not that late in the game. And it was just sad. It was sad to see those two. They're back together, but like,
Yeah.
and it was mean spirited too. It was more mean spirited in terms of some of the comedy than the first film was.
Yeah.
Especially the stuff about people with autism. Like, that was like, really? Like, you're gonna go there? Like,
Yeah,
that was
it's like
insulting.
I mean, Jim Carrey just seems a lot more out there nowadays anyway, but
Did he put that in there because of his stupid theories about vaccines causing autism? Is that why?
maybe, I don't know, but like, you know, he's like, I'll never do a movie like Kick-Ass 2 because of the violence, not because of like the script or anything. He's like, oh, I hate the violence in it. I'd never do that again. But then you do something like Dumb and Dumber 2, which came out like right after Kick-Ass 2. So I don't get that. It's very weird.
And then what are your thoughts though, Mark, real quick, on Karate Kid 3?
I kind of agree with what he said. Like, it was a regression. I mean, like, the first two are like the ones I watch the most. I mean, it's better than 4. If that means
I actually
anything.
like 4 more.
Really? Okay.
I like 4 more.
Okay.
Just part 3. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's Hilary Swank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I need to see it again. I've like not seen that one forever, but I always remember liking 3 more than 4. So
You do got Michael Ironside in 4.
Yes.
I do remember that. Yes. So maybe I'll give it a shot again.
I mean, even
time.
the actor himself who plays Daniel Ralph Macchio, even he thinks that it's disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
So I think that definitely should have been on this list. I mean, definitely over Crystal Skull. That film gets dunked on so much, and I don't get it. I really don't. That would not be on my list. I did a whole stream defending that movie with Matt and another friend of mine. And
I like the film.
Yeah,
it has its flaws. I think you could edit out the Tarzan with the CG apes.
Yeah.
Too much CGI.
The gophers in the beginning. Yeah.
But it's not as good as the first 3, but I saw it in the theater. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the adventure. I liked the story. I love seeing Karen Allen again.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford seemed like he gave a fuck. And I don't mind. I don't hate Shia LaBeouf like other people do. I like
I don't
him.
either.
He's a weirdo, but I like him.
He's got some problems, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, you know, everybody does. Maybe not to
Exactly.
the same, you know, extent of his, but
Yeah.
I mean, once he's on set and he's in character, I mean, he's you know, he's fine. I don't hate the movie.
I actually like the alien concept and the Crystal Skull stuff. I didn't think it was that out there. I didn't think it was something that was so completely outside the realm of the franchise.
Dial of Destiny, Jesus.
I mean, if you made, I mean, it's like, that makes sense to me because it's a take on a 50s B movie. That's really what it is. Crystal Skull was taking elements of what was popular in pop culture, and you know, with politics in the 50s, which is what the other Indiana Jones films did with the 30s. So like, it didn't really bother me that much at all, really. And I think it was executed decently enough. Like, I'm glad it was something different instead of another religious artifact. I thought that would be, if they did that again, I was like, well, that's just boring. Let's do another religious artifact. Is that all we can do with Indiana Jones movies? We can't go into a different direction. Now, that being said, I don't think Dial of Destiny was a good idea or a good film. They went into a different direction there with time travel. And I think that was more out of left field because what it was barely even connected to an artifact, and just everything about that movie that's way more disappointing.
3 words: Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Fuck her. I disagree, Monovol. I like both Matrix sequels. I wouldn't put them on a list of disappointing sequels.
No. That's the 4th one.
Oh, that's the 4th one.
The
Never
one that
mind.
came out a few
I
years
completely
ago.
forgot about the 4th one. That's why.
That's the one came out that no one remembers. Came out like 3 years ago.
That's funny because for a second I did think that was the 3rd one. It's like I quickly glanced at it. I thought it was the 3rd one too.
That's the 4th one.
But I definitely felt that was Dial of Destiny would be more disappointing to me than Crystal Skull. At least Harrison has energy. He's older, but he still has the same energy in 4. He doesn't have it in Dial of Destiny, and he's not upstaged by this annoying bitchy character either for the majority of the film. The next one they have is Highlander 2 for some reason, like as the second most disappointing sequel. I'm like,
well, a lot of people hate that film to death.
I know.
I liked that movie, as weird as it is. I liked the sci-fi future aspect. I liked the soundtrack. Sean Connery was fun. I liked the first one, but it's not like a favorite of mine. So the second one is like, yeah, the explanation is a bit weird, but I like the style. I like some of the action. I like the set design, and I had fun with the movie. It's actually probably my favorite Highlander film.
You're not alone, Matt. My favorite's still the first, but I can have some fun with the second one. Like Michael Ironside is a blast to watch as a bad guy in that.
Yeah, he's
and it does have some good songs in the soundtrack. I like One Dream. It was a great song. Lou Gramm, I think, did that one. And there are some things about it though that are just kind of But I can see why some people aren't really that into it. But like that high on a list, I don't agree with that. I would put something like Legend of Zorro on there than Highlander 2, because I remember when that came out, like I was really excited about it. That's one that returns the director who directed the first one. Martin Campbell came back to direct that, and Antonio's back, and Catherine Zeta-Jones, and like it was just a really weak, forgettable sequel with a lot of stuff involving a lame, annoying kid and his slingshot. Wanted to slingshot him out of the movie.
Dennis the Menace. Yeah.
But the Highlander 2, I can have some fun with it. I can see why some people are disappointed with it, but like
never seen it in full. Only seen parts of it.
Like the subway scene.
I've seen a piece of that. Like, yeah, it's one that I've never like sat down and fully watched from beginning to end. So yeah. But I've always heard about like
there's some
different cuts.
There's actually some satirical elements in that is actually kind of fun. You know, like almost like something out of like RoboCop, like the RoboCop universe. Like there's a whole like plane safety video that plays at one point that actually shows a reenactment of a plane crashing, like complete with a model plane crashing. Legend of Zorro, that definitely did suck. And then the next one that they have, the last one on the list, number 1 for them is Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I still haven't seen this because I've refused to watch any other Star Wars films after The Last Jedi. Eventually, I'll get there, but I can't really say anything about it, so I'll leave the thoughts on that one to you two.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I'll just say it sucks. So
Mark loves Star Wars.
No, I really don't. I'm not a fan of all the later stuff, especially. Not really even. So I've gone back and forth with between Matt, Uncle Bill, and even some people in the chat. I'm just not into Star Wars. Like I don't know what it is. Cool. And I've tried to like see what people see in it, but for me, it just doesn't click. And it is what it is. I don't really particularly like George Lucas either, but that's just me. So,
Mark, would you rather watch Howard the Duck or would you rather watch a Star Wars movie?
Which Star Wars movie?
A Howard the Duck or so you haven't seen the Rise of Skywalker. Have you seen any of the other trilogy films? Have you seen Rogue One?
I think so. God, again, because like any of that stuff, it's been like a one-time watch. Other than like the original 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? I would watch one, just because if nothing else, like it'd be at least in more conversation. Howard the Duck, I've seen it. I know what it is. I could probably at least get something out of the Star Wars movie, honestly.
Okay.
Even Solo.
Well, I've heard the stories about that one, so I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Rise
What are your final thoughts on that movie, Matt? Rise of Skywalker.
Well, I gotta do my first thoughts first before I give my
go
final
ahead.
thoughts.
No worries.
Rise of Shitwalker. Last Jedi was bad enough, and Force Awakens was bad enough. So of course, another shitty film. Big surprise.
Yeah.
All 3 suck. Rise of Skywalker. I'm trying to remember the fucking film now. Oh yeah, they have like space horses that fucking fly, and
sounds like they just ripped off Kroll.
Which is a better movie. There's like all of a sudden like 1,000 Star Destroyers like right next to each other. I went, what the fuck? Like they got all this shit? Where the hell did all this come from? And the Emperor is alive, but he's a clone, or he's
this
not
whole
a
thing with
clone.
the droids too, or something where they can fly. They fly now.
And like Rey is related to Palpatine, I guess.
Yep. Rey Palpatine.
And like fights Palpatine, but instead of just stop his lightning, he just keeps shooting and ends his life. He's an idiot.
God.
Oh, the Jedi power, they can now heal people. You would think.
What happens with Kylo Ren in that?
He got killed, but then she healed him because Raylo is a thing, and they need to fuck sometime. I mean, if you're a Jedi, you can heal people. You think, I don't know. There's a lot of times they could have worked throughout the films.
Yeah.
You know, Liam Neeson was dying, and you could have saved his life. But
exactly.
Just so many dumb fucking things in that film. I like John Boyega as an actor. They did jack shit with him or his character.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like in the first film they don't say like he's going to be a Jedi. Nah, they can't do that because he's black, I guess.
God.
I honestly believe because China don't like black people.
Ooh.
It's true. They took his fucking thing off the poster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was another movie.
They don't.
I think it's some comedy with like Faison Love and a bunch of other people, and like he was like
Couples Retreat.
Yeah, they took him off the poster.
They took him and the lady off the poster. Because China don't want black people on there. I mean,
what it is.
That's not me doing it. That's their rationale. That's like John Boyega. He was that much shorter, that much tinier in the poster.
Dang, Jared. That was the last movie you saw in the theater before they closed it down? And
then Disney wants to say all these morals.
That's not going out with a bang, that's for sure.
Disney wants to put all these fucking morals down, and yet they fucking do that to bend their ass cheeks to China.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the truth.
Yeah, I can't really say a whole lot about it because I haven't seen it yet. But I just want to leave it to you two guys. Is there any like sequels that aren't on here that you would find to be disappointing or more disappointing that you would have put on a list of your own?
Well, for me, I mean, we mentioned a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Rambo: Last Blood,
yeah.
John Wick 4, Clerks 3.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, that'd be my number one probably. Clerks
Fuck
3
that
was
movie.
terrible.
course,
Hated
I
it.
wasn't even supposed to be here today at the funeral.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Of course, my number one would be Alien 3, of course.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, Monteval, that's a good one. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. The first film was an okay, decent start to things, and then the second film was just worse and more disappointing because we have Silver Surfer now and Galactus, but Galactus is a cloud, and we just waste Silver Surfer. Oh,
Mhm.
and Doctor Doom in the same movie for whatever reason.
I just thought of another one that was actually because I really liked the first one. The Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh,
That was
Hmm.
because all the things you do with that character, and you just make it such a fucking lame, neutered movie where
yeah.
it's like it wants to be fucking Star Wars or something. I'm like, Pitch Black was cool and it was like different, and it really was such an interesting character. And then it's like, oh, he's from a race with all these fucking powers, and you got this inferior power. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck, dude?
So you're not going to get that 4K, man?
I would like to see the documentary because,
Uh-huh.
but I like documentaries, but no, I ain't paying $50 for that.
Neopunk
fucking thing.
mentions Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Do you think that one's a little disappointing?
It's, I mean, yeah, in comparison, yes. As its own thing, it's okay at best.
Sure.
I think, but yeah, like in comparison, it's Desperado so fucking great. It's probably my favorite Robert Rodriguez movie. So
Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that one, and that is kind of just the considering it's new Mad Max, Mel Gibson, the same director George Miller, and it's like PG-13, which is a mistake, and it's just I'm not big on that one. I like some of the songs by Tina Turner, but like I'm not really big on that one. Oh God, Moontrap Target Earth.
I don't know if I don't think I still saw that. Haven't seen it.
It's so bad. It is so fucking bad, man.
what's so bad about it?
Moontrap Target Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first Moontrap was a low budget film. This is a no budget movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're gonna start with that.
Have you seen the original Moontrap, Mark?
I don't think so.
It stars Walter Koenig, who was Chekhov in Star Trek, and Bruce Campbell. It's a sci-fi movie from 1989. Pretty good one. Whereas astronauts, they find a spaceship.
I remember it vaguely.
And they find there's ancient remnants on the moon, and there's these aliens that take humans for body parts and build themselves.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's a cool, like for a low budget, the way they make the moon look and the casting choices. It's a pretty cool little sci-fi.
Wish it had a
film.
legitimate Blu-ray release though, in proper HD with a proper remaster. But no, we don't get that from Moontrap.
A lot of they remove all the grain and just it looks fucking awful.
Mark, look up screenshots for that Blu-ray. It's literally one of the worst Blu-ray transfers ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the DNR is unbelievably bad. Superman Returns, somebody brought that one up. Yeah, I could see that. It's a sequel to the first two, ignoring 3 and 4, and then it's this disappointing, boring movie.
Well, real quick, like the weird thing about Moontrap Target Earth is me and Mike were contacted.
Yes.
You remember this?
The writer? Tex?
From the writer of Tex
Ragsdale.
Of the first film. Because we reviewed it separately.
Yeah.
We both enjoyed the original film.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with it. Saw it on VHS when I was a kid. It had never had a proper even DVD release.
No.
And he's like, oh, by the way, we're doing a special edition of Moontrap, and we're going to do a sequel. And I'm like, I didn't say this, but I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the sequel. But I am curious about this special edition.
Yeah.
Then they did such a shit job, whoever did it.
I see it. I see what you're talking about. Wow.
Like good old Oliver Krekel.
Oliver Krekel, who I forget what company he was.
Platinum Cult Films, I think.
So, yeah, they did a lot of that stuff. He loved DNR because he said grain is bad. That was his quote. Grain is bad, so it's better to DNR everything.
So I guess he would be best friends with James Cameron.
Yes. But yeah, and then when I would ask Tex, like, what happened with this boom trap? Dead silence. So, but yeah, but the first one, I mean, there's even, I think most people just upload the VHS quality.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised Mission Impossible 2 wasn't on there, because that is kind of disappointing, to be honest. Mission Impossible 2,
Yeah.
Uh,
or Predators, the Predator. The Predator for sure, because Shane Black, Fred Decker.
The Predator, yeah. Alien Covenant's not even on the list.
No, that's pretty disappointing. Mortal Kombat Annihilation for sure. No, you must die.
Halloween
but yeah,
Ends, people
do you have
mentioned.
any others that you guys can come up with out of the top of your head?
How about you, Mark? I've been naming a bunch. Blade Trinity, that's definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But how about you, Mark? What's sequels that you were really disappointed in?
Any like something I had hope for, or just something that just was bad?
How about something you had hope for? If you can think of any. That you really thought or hoped it would be good.
Yeah, X-Men: The Last Stand. That's a big one for me because I love the Dark Phoenix storyline.
Yeah, that's definitely one. Blade Trinity for sure, because I'm a big fan of the first two.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really enjoy Mission Impossible 2. I think it's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Here's one that like I knew would just be bad just off like the fact that they made a sequel, Son of the Mask.
Yeah.
Amy Kennedy.
Yeah.
Like, just why? Like, that barely worked with Jim Carrey. Like, only he could have done
Austin.
that. So
I forgot there were turbulent sequels.
Ooh.
Fear of Flying.
Man.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Like both of those I liked Frozen Empire, but it's another one I'm starting to kind of sour on a little bit more I think about it. But Afterlife's definitely one. I cried in the theater. It got me. Then I watched it again and I'm like, this kind of sucks. Like, this isn't funny. It's boring. And it's very manipulative in a pretty kind of disgusting way, if you really think about it.
Right.
But by the way, Mark, you mentioned Son of the Mask. I don't like the film either. I think it's a piece of shit. But I highly recommend you check out. Jamie Kennedy has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've seen some videos on there.
Okay, so you've seen the Untold Story where he goes through the making of that film?
I didn't see that video, no. But I will.
There's like a playlist. There's like 7 videos where it goes through the inception to all the behind the scenes stuff to what happened.
Okay.
It's very fascinating for a film that's a piece of shit.
I could imagine, because like no way it would have just been intentionally that bad on purpose. But
yeah,
that's crazy. I'll check it
out. Seed of Chucky, yeah. I mean, after Bride of Chucky, which is actually kind of decent, like they're kind of maybe figuring something out, and then Seed of Chucky with like a Britney Spears dying in a car crash or some shit.
And fucking John Waters watching a doll jerk off. Like, what the fuck is that? I just don't like Don Mancini. Like, I'm just...
He's so overrated. He's such an overrated fucking director.
Why don't you like Don Mancini? I know, Mark, but why?
Because he's not a director. That's why. Like, I think his screenplays, if you could call them that, are just a waste of time. And he'll never come up with anything entertaining or original outside of like just the basic kill stuff that he does in his movies.
Yeah.
I mean, those are barely even entertaining. I don't think it's just like he's run that character into the ground,
Yes.
and it's beyond over. Like I'm
Yes.
so done with anything
sure.
Child's Play or
I do not.
and I love Brad Dourif though, but man, like
He's tired. He
Yeah.
sounds tired.
But here's the thing, Don Mancini, you know what he does love? 14-year-olds kissing and making out.
yeah, that show, dude. Like, what the fuck is that, man?
Like 14-year-olds are like
Yeah.
15, 40 are on the bed making out.
I don't
What
like
the fuck?
that Don Mancini is basically taking credit for the whole Child's Play franchise at this point. It's annoying. Like Tom Holland was way more responsible for,
Yes.
making stuff work, or, some of the other writers involved. It's like George Lucas taking the credit for everything. It's like, no, there are other writers. You aren't a good writer, George. Your own wife rewrote most of your fucking scripts. Like,
yeah, like I hate that too. It's like that movie, the first Child's Play, would not have worked if it was not for Tom Holland, John LaFia,
if they went with the Blood
Kevin
Buddies,
Yeager, like
if you went
all
with the
those
Blood
guys.
Buddies script, that script was bad.
Yeah,
It was a bad movie. But yeah, Phantasm 4, yeah, that's pretty bad. Oblivion 5's pretty bad too. Ravager, yeah. So they're bringing up Ravager. Oh yeah, another Stakeout, Matt. Ooh, yeah, that was pretty bad.
It's just pretty dumb.
Or Beastmaster 2 and 3. Hellraiser sequels? I don't know. I mean, because Hellraiser, like, I think you're just done after 3 anyway, right?
I personally like 4.
Okay.
It's a mess of a film, but I love its ambition, and I like the original Peter Atkins ideas. I have the book. Well, it's the screenplay, but it's in book form.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy that, but yeah, after that, I'm done. There's no more Hellraiser for me.
Well, you don't like the remake?
No, Hell in a Cell Raiser. Nah.
Oh yeah.
Just don't like that.
Someone mentioned the Mummy 3. Yeah. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, because I like that idea. I like the idea of using the emperor's tomb stuff, the tomb with the Chinese statues, and using that, and having Jet Li be the villain and all this other stuff, and then abominable snowmen for some reason, and just some dumb subplot involving some kind of love triangle that I didn't give a fuck about. Yeah, that was pretty bad. I definitely do agree with that. Oh, the Look Who's Talking sequels. Have you seen any of those, Mark?
I have, sadly. They had to move on to the fucking dogs talking to each other.
Oh man. But anyway, speaking of talking, like we've been talking for over 3 hours, so I think that's a good place to stop here. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad to have you two joining me. And maybe we can do this again with some other topic, or just a random chat or something like that.
Oh yeah.
There's probably some stuff that we might have missed. Like I know someone just mentioned Expendables 3 and 4. Like all of the Expendables sequels could be disappointing if you really think about it. But yeah, I don't really have any that I can come up with off the top of my head. I know people are mentioning Police Academy. Like, would we honestly really think that those movies would be better after how many that were made? Section 31. Yeah, that trailer looked like ass, but I'd still have to see the movie before I could say that it's considerably worse than Insurrection, because Insurrection really sucks. Austin, Creepshow 3 doesn't fucking count. That's not a sequel. That's not a real sequel.
That barely exists. But it is bad.
But it was disappointing, I will admit, because
Yes.
I remember when that was announced. I'm a huge Creepshow fan, and I was like, man, I want to see that. And I remember renting it from like Netflix when they still did DVDs, and I hated it. It's awful.
Yep.
One of the worst anthologies ever. Haunted Hot Dog.
So
yeah,
fucking bad. Oh man.
that's it for tonight. And maybe I can ask, like, Matt, what have you got going on with your channel in the future?
Well, quick, like, did you like Mortal Kombat 2021? So you like it more than Annihilation?
Well, yes. I mean, of
The
course.
sequels. What do I have going on? I guess Friday, because me and Mark will be on Dead Pit,
Yeah.
9 p.m. Central. Where I don't know how the fuck they don't do
Oh
this.
yeah, Universal Soldier, Day of Reckoning.
I don't know how the fuck they don't do this, but it's a tier list for every Friday the 13th character.
How? There's still many characters.
That's my question, but I will get our answer Friday. I can imagine what the fuck that's gonna look like.
I don't know how we're gonna do that.
Is it gonna be a 5-hour stream? Like, what?
I hope not.
But maybe they're called audible last second. I don't know. I think some of them would just have to be like, this character's in it for literally 30 seconds. Just pick a letter.
Yeah.
So me and Mark will be on there Friday.
Oh God, Carlito's Way, Rise to Power.
For me, with videos, I just uploaded the classic film Everybody Needs MILF movie review, which was a classic film by Penthouse, which was a request. I at least try to make the review funny, so I hope people check out the review.
Yeah.
I at least try to make it funny.
It's kind of like what I'm trying to do that with my Steven Seagal reviews. Like, I'm really breaking out the puns.
Other videos coming up. I saw a film called 6 Degrees of Hell, which sounds about right, because you rather go to hell.
This sounds like a direct-to-Tubi movie, Matt. That's what that sounds like.
It's a direct-to-video film where Corey films in it for 5 minutes from 2012.
Sounds like a winner. Sounds like from the same era as Corbin Nash.
Yeah.
Oh, Corbin. That was so awful. I saw like 10 minutes of that on TV and I was like, what the fuck?
It is. It's bad.
Other stuff, let's see. Hollywood Homicide review. We're starring Harrison Ford, which I don't mind that film.
That was a huge bomb.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Sixth Sense.
Overrated. Overrated.
Yeah, it's an okay film. Watch it again, but I prefer Stir of Echoes.
I do too.
Same here.
Sixth Sense, I thought it was okay, but I don't think it's a classic.
Austin Chud 2 is not underrated because that was always going to be bad.
Someone requested my list of 15 worst movies of 1993, so that was an interesting list to do.
1993. Yeah.
The Hidden 2.
Oh fuck yes.
Oh my god. That movie.
So spoiler, that's my number 1 on there.
Isn't that the one with like the guy what's his fucking name?
Plays Raphael Sbarge or whatever.
Yeah, DeBarge.
From Carnosaur.
Yeah. And there's some scene with like a fucking toothbrush in that movie, isn't there?
I don't know. But yeah, I got other stuff coming up, some video game playthroughs. How about you, Mark?
Oh god, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow 2. That is a thing.
Yeah, it is. I haven't even watched it yet, but if at all or ever, like I shouldn't. Same stuff that I've had coming up that should have been out last weekend, but I got super busy. Just those collection set videos and that crawl video that got screwed up by YouTube, which I don't even know how that happened, but that's a whole. Were Yeah, it's been out for 5 years, 5-year anniversary. I thought it would have been like a good anniversary showcase of like this edition that I got, and just talking about the movie is like an end of the summer watch type movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, YouTube fucked it up somehow. So I have
Weird.
to
Did they
redo that
ban it?
again.
Did they ban it, or was it just something
It
that happened and
it
when
was
you
like
uploaded it?
something with the upload was fucked up.
That's
And I was
weird.
like, gee, I haven't uploaded a video in like months, and I finally do, and it got
God,
fucked
that's
up
got to be
somehow.
so frustrating.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
like
add
that's
to
like
the
if you
fact that
record.
I didn't have it anymore. I didn't have the video
Oh
file anymore.
no,
So I had to.
that sucks so much.
That's also why like I didn't put anything up because I'm like, well, fuck, now I just
Yeah.
got to do the whole thing over. So
It's like when I do a video or I start recording and then like I'm already like halfway through and then I realize my mic is muted or it's on
man.
OBS is on fucking default.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
how
I'm
mine
like,
is. Like
fuck.
I've done that on StreamYard a couple times. You know what you mean?
So that always sucks to have to redo things.
Yeah.
But well, go to their channels, Ramboraph4life, Stuntman Marq, if you want to see their next content. I just have some Steven Seagal reviews and a video on the Dorm Days trilogy, which I don't know why there's a trilogy of those movies, but you know, it is what it is. So that's what I have coming up on my channel. And once again, thanks to Matt and Mark for joining me. And thanks to everybody for joining me in the chat. And see you later. Have a good night.
See ya.
Bye.